3, 2, 1. Welcome to the dance, y'all. This is a podcast centered around the world of tree climbing competition and those that devote their lives to its pursuit. We're proud to share some stories of bells rung, swings had, ascenders that clanked, and the future of our craft. Harness up and get ready to sound the horn. This is the Smooth Saw. All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the newest episode of the Smooth Saw. You're going to get both of us doing the intros this time. So, welcome to episode 32, talking about the debrief of the ISA North American Tree Climbing Championship that was held in Kent, Ohio at the Davie Seed Campus. So pretty stoked, Evan, that you're going to be helping me with the intro part.
Honored.
So also this, very selfishly will make the editing part easier because it's just going to go one long form instead of
Chopping it
we'll
up.
record, right? We'll record and then it's like, oh crap, I got to do the intro. So, yeah, that's what we're talking about tonight. How you feeling?
A mixed bag. Certainly, in a lot of ways, relieved that it's over. Really prideful and happy to have represented the company and had it on our home turf. Just really proud of the fact that we had an amazing setup. I think one of the more unique areas that I've ever been at a tree climbing competition in the past. Also really happy to kind of move on and move forward and move on to bigger and better things, but also really excited to have this conversation. Those of us that were there, I think in many ways left with a very mixed bag of emotions, and a lot of us left a little bit more puzzled than maybe in events past. So we're going to get through all of that in our debrief. But I'm also looking forward to, potentially starting the conversation to making things better. That's what we're supposed to be doing, right? Every time you're supposed to be making new mistakes or looking for ways to improve not only ourselves, but our industry and climbing competition as a whole. And stoked to be a part of it.
Awesome. Yeah, personally, I am eager to talk about this and simultaneously wanting to just address the group at large of you're going to hear frustration come out of my mouth with different aspects of this. And I kind of want to just go ahead and set the stage of like, I really am, I don't feel like a bitter man about this and what'll inevitably wind up coming up. I don't feel like I'm speaking out of that context of just like, oh, woe is me type thing, because that's just not who I am. That's not my personality. And I guess like just truthfully, just a little afraid in a way to like be. I say afraid. It was good talking with you and Brick earlier today, just like catching up. First of all, Brick Riley, my brother, it was great to talk with you and see your face this morning.
Yeah.
But in the context of like fear around this, after you got off the call and went and took your dapper pictures with your family, we were talking a little bit more about his time in Augsburg here recently.
Yeah.
And he goes, one of the questions that he asked the group was, what's the thing that you're most afraid of? And I was like, well, that was, we're getting deep, Brick. Like, this is why I love talking with you. And so I said some dumb answer, and he goes, how about getting like flogged and whipped
Mm.
and then inevitably put on a cross knowing that you're gonna die. And it's like, yeah, that's a pretty big fear. That's a pretty big legitimate fear. He's like, so all this other stuff, you're not going through that, right? I'm like, yeah, yeah, that's right. He's like, that's probably not
It's
that
not
bad.
that bad.
I'm like,
So good.
amen, brother.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. Lord speaks in very subtle ways sometimes and other times very
Mm.
bluntly.
Yeah.
So in that same, I guess, operating out of that mindset,
Mm.
like I don't particularly care, I guess, of like how anyone might think I feel. It's just as like this is our thing, so we get to talk about it, and maybe we'll set the internet on fire, and maybe it'll just stay dead quiet. Regardless, I know me personally, I need to get a lot of this out of my head to move forward. So again, not trying to sound bitter, and if that's how anyone interprets it, sorry, I'm not sorry. That's just kind of is what it is. We're just trying to talk about this and as in the most level-headed way I feel like we could try to talk about it.
Yeah.
So, um, now on that bombshell, let's give a quick shout out to the people that partner with us to help us help y'all and help y'all help your people. So our obsession banner up behind me, sticker on the headphones. Some might call me Obsessed. Uh, uh, yeah, they're great. Casey's great. I
Yeah.
hit up Casey actually on Thursday, I think, to try to order some regular colored sip geckos after the North American, where everyone proceeded to make fun of me wearing yellow and blue gecko pants. So I was like, all right, well, that was me being vulnerable and brave.
Yeah.
They're super comfy though.
This is what you get.
Casey, Casey, can we get green ones? Please, can we get green ones?
Like, hold on, what kind of green? Like like
It's not
dark
bright.
green? Okay.
Yeah, it's like as far as my eyes can tell, it's like a
Nice.
forest green, a dark green. It's not highlighter yellow or blue, and everyone else was calling them teal, and I don't know what teal looks like. So I just get confused when people say things that are outside the normal color range.
Just keep it
So
primary colors, Jeff.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah, it's in the rainbow. Why are we adding or taking away from the rainbow? So anyway,
To our obsession.
all that to say, find anything and everything you could ever want from an arborist supply company at
Yeah.
Our Obsession. And don't forget to use hashtag SmoothSaw to get you a wee bit of a discount on this stuff that seems to be ever increasing in price. So, uh, Quran Vertical Living, and it's funny, I just noticed you're wearing a shelter hat. So that's hilarious. That's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So current vertical living. Um, Evan, what have you been using from Current here lately?
I've been on the Square for as long as I can remember. As long as it being available, I've been on it. Rebel for all the fast events, and Kalimba for work.
Nice.
Just great. Just awesome cordage. Works well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's I feel like most known for are those specific climbing lines, the bags themselves, and to a lesser extent, there's all the kind of smaller cordage and the work positioning lanyards, and even the Phoenix hitch cord and the Eclipse, rope as well. So that's I know on this rain day, that's what I've been playing around with, is trying to make some more customized kind of anchoring systems, and it's pretty awesome just trust that manufacturer of stuff
Yeah.
being real strong, and even for my broken eyes, still easy to see in the trees. So
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
love it.
and yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. You can also find all of that current stuff at our obsession. So cruise on over there. It's, as far as I can tell, seems to be one of the best supply of current stuff in the states compared to the other ARB supply companies. So, but everyone's got it. So just use current stuff. And then lastly, Atmos Tree, um, kind of OG partner of the Smooth Saw. So as we talk about the North American Tree Climbing Championship and the awesome trees that we got to play in, uh, as we're recording this and it gets posted live, then Atmos Tree will plant 2 trees into the ground for us just rambling about trees. So 2 tree guys talking about tree stuff, putting 2 trees in the ground. So can cruise on over to Atmos Tree's website or their Instagram, and all these hashtags and ats and tags and all that stuff will be in the show notes as well. But again, it's Atmos Trees mainly for tree care companies, where you cut a tree down, they'll plant 2 trees in its not necessarily in its place, but 2 trees get planted in the ground to kind of offset what was removed. So pretty cool. Big thanks to Atmos Tree, and yeah, trees going in the ground. Super cool.
Heck yeah.
So, anything else you would like to contribute to the introduction of our podcast, Mr. Evan? No.
I think that's good.
Nope.
Good enough.
Let's
Good
just
enough
get into it.
rambling. Let's just get into it. I'm just
Yeah. Yeah.
chomping at the
The
bit, baby.
anticipation.
Yeah.
Anticipation has been killing me all day. So,
All week.
yeah. Um, okay. So let's do a bit of a set the stage.
Yeah.
In a kind of not so much ground rules as they are guidelines. Setting the stage. So we were in Kent, Ohio, at Davies Seed Campus, and I know it for folks that haven't listened to the episode that came out before this. First of all, listen to all the episodes. It's just we appreciate it when everyone listens to all the episodes, especially if you listen to them multiple times. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
But we talked a bit with Lotes in terms of, you know, what we were doing, why we were going to be there, what the Seed Campus is, and I'll say, I mean, you'd been there obviously before as a Davie employee.
Yeah.
I've just heard the lore of Seed Campus, so I'll just kind of give my initial impression
Please.
driving up into this of uh turning in to the Seed Campus. It kind of felt like, I mean, playing a lot of golf and then knowing that it was an old golf course, like it definitely has that vibe first turning off the road of just like, okay, this is going to be, sweet. This is going to be a pretty cool spot. Then you start seeing the pond and the building, and then you just kind of, your eyes, or at least my eyes, were immediately drawn to the fact that there is this wooden structure that's in the tops of all these trees.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, that's not at all what I had imagined. Like what I had in my head versus what that looked like. Very different. I don't even like I was kind of expecting like an elevator on one end, like fully ADA accessible.
Yep.
And then almost more like kind of almost like a floating bridge, like suspended by cables and stuff. Uh, Way more jungle gym esque than what it actually was. And what it actually is are, like essentially telephone poles planted in the ground with a wooden platform that runs I mean, for like a pretty good distance. All the trees that we were climbing in, and then it kind of disappeared on the other side of the wood line, which I ended up finding because in the rain, Derek Martin and Jimmy and Taylor Neff and Chinda and I all disappeared into this shelter that I kind of didn't know if we were supposed to be at, but we did
You're
it anyway.
you're good.
So, like there were throw lines hanging everywhere.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy kept like as we were sitting down, Jimmy kept trying to like swing the throw balls and hit us in the crotch, like when we weren't looking. Um, so we were having fun over there.
Yeah.
Everybody else is inside, probably like
Yep.
stressed, and it probably didn't smell too good, but we were having fun. Uh,
Yeah.
anyway, like that canopy walk went a lot further than I expected to,
Mhm.
which is cool. And then, I mean, like immediately you see well, that looks like the tape on the work climb tree, and it looks as if the canopy walk just dead ends into that
Into the
and
tree, yeah.
into the tree. And I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool if we were able to step off of that into the work climb tree? Lo and behold, lo and behold, that is precisely how we did it,
Yeah.
which was hands down. I mean, other than climbing into a tree, that will always be the coolest way for me to get into a tree. But coming up
S
fast in the second spot is that way.
Yeah.
Uh,
Certainly the most unique.
yeah. Um, but yeah, it's just it was a bunch of white oaks,
Mhm.
which I love dearly. Love climbing white oaks. And then, yeah, we do the whole registration thing. They immediately try to scare us by being like, Jason Deal's just looking for ways to DQ you. So don't even look over there. And I'm like, well, I'm essentially a child. Like I climb trees for a living. Like I haven't made it much past being a little kid. So you tell me not to look at something, I'm going to look over there. Like it's going to take everything in me not to look over there, especially when that's where all the trees are at, and there's
Yeah.
a freaking canopy walk
Yeah.
in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Like, and we've never been here before,
Yeah.
and it's like we can't look at it. Like I'm gonna get DQ before it even starts. Oh, anyway, fortunately, then you come to the rescue and be like, "Hey, let me show you the inside of this building." And I'm like, "Good," because Jason's he's just gonna get me.
Yep.
Um, so the inside of the facility is wicked cool.
Mhm.
The indoor training facility, again, that's one probably that was the most surprising to me
Mm.
because in my head, how I've heard this talked about for many years was I was thinking just the indoor training facility itself was just going to be this massive warehouse with wooden beams everywhere and metal trusses and just like, almost like Raiders of the Lost Ark esque of just as far as the eye can see having structures. And it was not that big
Yeah.
in
Yep.
comparison to what my brain thought this was going to be. It was not that big.
Yeah.
Now, what it is still pretty freaking big.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, a bunch of box trusses, different anchor points all over the place. Stuff set up on the ground to practice limb walking, but in a very like low consequence area. Tons of information splattered up on the wall. The ability to stand on the outside and look through the glass to be able to take that in. But then there's also that like balcony area, so you can kind of be more like on the level with the people that are doing stuff. The no food or drink thing kind of annoyed me, if I'm being honest. Like, I was like, man, gotta walk outside to eat snacks. Um, but um, but yeah, I mean, then the research area, like where there's all the scientists doing science stuff. That's always cool to see people doing that stuff with trees. It's really nice to stop halfway through that walk and grab a coffee. That was much needed at that point.
Yeah.
I was like, Can I do this, Evan? Are you gonna get fired if I take coffee? Like,
Nope.
uh, I'm not wearing green. I'm wearing black and red. Like, is it okay? Um. Anyway, But then getting into the barn, which
Mm,
I've talked with you a bunch about, so actually seeing the barn in the back, and I'll let you do because I don't tell the story nearly as well. Um, but that was super cool, to actually see that and know that, like, your family had a hand in getting it to that point.
yep.
Did we talk about that in that episode?
Yeah, I
We
think
did.
we discussed it. Yeah, with Loats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Well,
yes, very
we won't.
very close ties to the barn, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So, but yeah, then I mean, it's just a cool building. Just, it's what's the environmental uh thing that it meets?
Uh, yep.
Say it's LEED. Is it LEED certified?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So that's always cool. I mean, especially that's what you'd hope, in a modern building built by a tree company,
Right.
that it would be that way.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, there's
but
I'm sure you guys probably saw it in the back over by the shelter, but there is a massive solar array where
mhm.
the whole building is run off of that. The our DRG, our Davy Resource Group, has a whole part that deals with all the gray water runoff, and so all of the gray water from the facility runs out that way. Um, I know we have all sorts of ways of bringing in water so that we're not pulling from the county or the city supply lines. All the water is coming from the property. Um, the SIP span, we didn't really talk about that in the building, but all of the like the car or the particle board or OSB that you saw around the building, those are all what are called SIPS panels, which is structural insulated panel systems. So typically it's either 3/4 or 5/8 sheets of OSB with 8 to 9 inches of styrofoam insulation sandwiched by another sheet of OSB. And what it is just it's a much better way of reducing energy emissions either through heating or cooling, depending on the season that you're in. But the building is riddled with it, so it's got amazing energy efficiency. All those things all leads to that lead certification you were talking about.
And in like one of the lobbies are, two really old Davy trucks, which honestly the coolest part about those trucks was when I saw Bert Coon. Bert was like, "Oh, I used to have one of those. Like I remember doing tree work back with one of those." And I was like, "Goodness gracious." Like that's wild to me.
Yeah,
Like
right.
I was like, "Bert." I mean that like you're so old, dude. Like uh like, I'm so inspired all the
Yeah,
more because
yeah,
like, that dude still throws down, like,
yeah.
and then, like, I said that, and then we went right into talking about his work climb from geezers, and it's just like he's like, "Man, I've been thinking about it, Jeff, if I'd have just jumped this way and done that." And I was like, "Yeah, I did that." He's like, "Oh, I knew I should have tried it."
Yeah. Ah, shout
Oh
out
my
Bert
gosh, I
Coon. Yeah,
love that guy.
yeah,
Love
amazing
Bert,
man.
but hilarious. "Oh, I used to have one of those."
Mind you, I think that
Oh,
one of them is from the early, like 1920s or 30s, and the other one's
mhm.
from the 50s. Like, it was the one of the first spray rigs that we had as a company.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
he said his was a '40s model.
that makes
So,
sense. That
yeah.
checks out.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just crazy. Um, yep, so we did registration, finished the tour, hugged a bunch of people. Good catch up with folks, and then we went to walk through. Uh,
Weirdness started,
huh?
and the weirdness started.
And the weirdness started. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so we started at work climb for the walkthrough, and And it's like it's every time I do walkthroughs, it part of how I know like where my head's at is like how hard it is for me to concentrate
Mm.
to what people are saying because I'm so just like I want to do
You just
whatever
want to go up
it is
there.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it.
And that work climb tree was one of those trees for me where I was like, this looks rad.
Yeah.
Like, not
Yep.
only have they fully confirmed the fact that like we are definitely getting into this tree from the canopy walk.
Yeah. It was so
Uh,
super cool. If you weren't there um, during the walkthrough, they kind of or described how we would actually go into the work climb tree. So to kind of set the stage, the canopy walk is about 50 feet in elevation, and they had set up. They had two just buckets that were rigged up in such a way where all we had to do as the competitors was we would go through our load tests with our systems on the ground. Then we would take our harness and our ropes and whatever else we were going to use, save for our PPE, but we would put them in these buckets, and then we would literally walk, 75 feet down the to the other end and go up the spiral staircase with nothing on. And then all of our stuff was just hauled up in these buckets to be waiting for us at the top of the canopy walk. And when we would get to the canopy walk, we would walk over and they wanted, 4 to 5 people up there at one point. So you're watching the climbs at elevation with a group of people, which I know that I've never done that before. And then when it was your turn to be on deck, they built a highline setup or a reef setup to go from the canopy walk, and then just scooted you over into the on deck spot. Yeah, again, super unique. Shout out to the work climb crew and everybody else there. Tons of work and effort, and um, yeah, this preparation to get that part of it was awesome.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, so yeah, doing the walkthrough there. Um, Alex Julius is the head judge. Alex highlights, starts to highlight that, um, which she said at one point with the limb toss station that the rule book had a typo in it,
Mm,
in terms of making sure we call audibles before we throw each limb toss. And to me, that was the first sign that okay, this is a little this is
different.
a little different. This is like all if I wasn't paying attention up to that point when Alex made that comment, I was like, "Oh, wow, okay, so the rule book's wrong. Um, this is news. This is news to me." But okay. I mean, I'm here for it because I think it makes all the sense in the world that you should call an audible before you throw things out of a
Mhm.
tree anyway. So it always just seemed like a weird thing that people were getting kind of keyed up on of like, well, it says in the rule book this, and I'm like, well, it just makes just good sense that you would say stand clear before you huck a stick out of the tree at something. So anyway,
Yeah.
uh, but it definitely was like, well, that's a first for me. I've never heard someone say the rule book's wrong,
Mm,
um, before the event ever started. So, um, and then from there, it was just kind of like, okay, well, everything else seems pretty normal
mhm,
in terms of work line.
mhm.
So I don't know if anything else jumped out to you.
Just other than the fact, and I think this will kind of save the discussion around it until later, but I think certainly one of the challenges of any contest or any tree climbing competition, but this one being no different, is just the number of people that were around to audibly hear the walkthrough. And I know that there were things that I missed because I don't remember um, I don't remember her bringing that up. I do remember several people's reactions to it. And I can't help but think that I'm alone. I'm not alone, and I'm
Mhm.
sure there were several people that did not hear much of any of the some of those walkthroughs, depending on what was going around, where they were standing, who was talking around them or distracting them, or whatever the case may be. But communication
Right.
is such a pivotal part of the success of these events. So we'll leave it
Mhm.
at that.
Yep. Yeah, and the way everything kinda was set up, work climb, blade speed climb, and ascent were kinda all relatively in the same spot.
I mean, they're
Throw
all
line and
you
AR.
could you could damn near reach out and touch
Right.
ev- all of those trees from the canopy walk.
Correct,
Yeah,
correct. Yeah. AR and throw line, you actually I say you had to walk a bit. It wasn't really that bad of a walk.
no,
But it felt like it in comparison to where those
yeah,
3 were set up.
yeah.
Blade speed, uh, I actually asked the question. I was the guy that asked the question and walked through of like, "Dave, did you route the rope wrong?" Uh,
Nope.
and, he's like, "No, no, we didn't." So the way is another white oak. Spoiler alert, they're all white oaks except for the master's tree. Uh, but the way that the blade speed climb rope was routed, you kind of started and it naturally wanted to like barn door you or kind of like whip you around the side of the tree. You kind of climbed up holds and grabbed fixed ropes, and then to you're grabbing limbs and kind of hopping and running and jumping. And then you hit this spot about halfway up where some folks were calling it like the birth canal,
Nice.
which I was like, that just looks like a squirrel move.
Yeah,
But if you want to go that route, I guess you can.
yeah,
But you basically, for those of us that are on the taller side, had maybe a little bit, or at least initially, it looked like we were going to have a more difficult time weaving through these branches. I remember telling Kelsey like 1,000% I'm hitting my head. Like I'm prepared to have
and
a concussion discussion,
yeah.
like at the end of my blade speak live, because I thought I was just gonna forget about it and
Boom.
then like be charging up and hit my head, and then there's a bell right there too.
Yeah.
So then it was like, not only am I potentially going to be concussed, but then I'm also going to forget that there's a bell right there. Anyway, but
Several
it looked
people
cool.
were yelled at
Yeah.
and
Oh
reminded
yeah.
of that first belt.
It's a constant theme.
Yep.
Yeah. But it did look cool. That's the thing of like the blade speed climb. Sometimes it looks kind of like, I don't know. But most of the time, at least for me, I'm like, oh, this looks rad. And this was no exception.
No, that was great.
Yeah. Dave and crew did a heck of a job.
Yeah.
Um, Ascent event right next to it, hanging at 59 feet. There's not really much really to say about the ascent event other than it's silliness. But the bell 59 feet in the air,
Yeah.
and and Adam Jackson was the head judge.
Gr-
So
Great tree for
uh,
it. It went up like this, and then it had one major limb that went like this and gave you plenty of space.
yeah.
They had it
Now initially,
perfectly set
I
up
was
for, but they had it perfectly set up for the head to head, and weather happened.
mhm, correct. Yeah, there's that. Now initially, they had it set up with only one way of approaching the rope. And then Adam and team were gracious enough to basically set a start on either side of the rope. So that way, if you wanted to come from a right handed or a left handed perspective, because they had one rope that was fixed for ascent and one that was for just the backup.
Yeah.
So I very much appreciated that.
Yep.
Because while I'm right handed, I come at it from the left handed approach.
Same.
So that was cool. Um, throw line, I cannot remember that head judge's name. I feel awful.
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Jimmy's been
he's
with the
amazing.
oh, he's been with the Ohio chapter. I think we were talking about it at the Ohio chapter a couple weeks ago. This is his 18th year, something like that, in a row
Wow.
of volunteering, and every year it's the same. It's the same. He just over clarifies, over communicates, but also sets very. I get it. I'm talking about throw line, right? It's you can either get him in the targets or not, but he also just he has a way of setting the stage that like you walk away from that event, you're like, oh yeah, I know everything. Unfortunately for me,
Yep.
anyway, I totally forgot about one of the targets, and it's
Uh,
tomfoolery, and it bit me. But at the same time, I have nobody to blame but myself because it's very
yep.
clearly written down, and we very clearly went over it in the walkthroughs. So quite all right.
Yeah. I would argue that is the poster child for how walkthroughs should be conducted, was what Jimmy and team did.
Yeah.
Like there was, you know,
We don't
spent
wanna we don't wanna take any points away from you. We wanna give you
right,
all of
spent
the points.
right. They did a great job of like highlighting exactly what was in play and what wasn't. And even though like a lot of us were like, "Oh, that's silly that this one limb that you have tape on is not included in the scoring of that particular union." It was written down on a whiteboard right before you ever walked into the ring, and it stayed that way the whole time. Um, so yeah, it was and there was a couple white oaks, or yeah, all three white oaks because there was a three union in a white oak that was on the backside. Gobbled people up.
Oh, yeah.
Whew, that was yeah.
Hmm.
So and then we'll end the prelim walkthrough on rescue. So do you want to take the lead on rescue?
Sure. Yeah, so the rescue, if you kind of paint a picture of what the scenario was, where the victim was, and then when the question started. So the scenario was that relatively normal temperature. We were hosting a training session. The victim, this in this case, was one of the students. Um, went for he had an uncontrolled swing or went for a swing of somehow ended up cutting his left forearm with his handsaw. Handsaw's on the ground. There's a branch on the ground, and he's approximately 10 to 15 feet off of the ground floor on the first scaffold limb that you come to in this tree. Not lanyarded in. He does have a lanyard on him, but it's not being used at the time. He's kind of laying on his, like they have him laying on his backside on this little perch, but his climbing system is also kind of going over this probably, what would you say, 3 to 4 inch, um, what
Yeah,
what
I
once
don't know
was
if it
an
was 4 inch.
epicormic
Yeah,
sprout, but
yeah.
not a very big branch. Um, and then also had some sort of psychiatric event where he noticed the blood and noticed the handsaw and passed out. But he's not, or he's sorry, didn't pass out. He's just not responding. Um, but he's conscious. Is how I remember the scenario.
Hmm.
Um, the anchor point for the access line is on the backside of the tree relative to where the scaffold limb that the victim was on, and the anchor point for the access line is at least 35 to 40 feet into the canopy. It was a pretty
Hmm.
decent pole of rope to get up there, and then potentially, at least for the first couple runs, there's potential for people to go up relatively high. and then get a natural branch union to kind of drop on down to improve the angle and do all sorts of things. I know that was what you ended up doing, which was, I think you were the only one to do that, which is awesome. And I think that's what it should be.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm,
well, didn't work out for you, but I think it's great.
yeah.
So yeah, that was the scenario. Did I miss anything? I don't think I did.
Poison ivy. Did you say
Oh,
something
yep.
about
Nope.
poison ivy?
Sorry. Yeah, there was
Mm,
poison ivy, and it was noted. There was a portion of it right on the trunk, but that they're also saying they were finding it on the ground. Mind you, all of these trees, they had spread mulch over the top of every one of the events um, in the a couple of weeks prior to the events taking place.
yeah. I think I heard what, like 9 inches of mulch were put down at least.
Sure.
So
I, yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't
So a
know.
healthy amount. Yeah.
Yeah, a healthy amount
Yeah.
of mulch. So
Yep.
yeah, that's the kind of the scenario that we were given, and then the questions started. I think the first question that was brought up was, you know, if we add, if we hard connect to the victim, what do you, what do you want us? Do you want us to add friction to our devices if they're rated for a one person load? And the response was, well, what do you think you should do? Uh, have a really hard time. Uh, I've had a really hard time with rescue for a while now, and it seems like, are we like? Can we just start going? Let's just get into this.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I think now we're done with walkthrough. The only
So,
thing I feel like I would have said
uh,
about day one was like we went and had like a just a banging dinner at that
yeah.
Japanese place, but that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
shout out,
It's
shout
just
out,
really good food.
shout out Jeff
It's really
Senior
good
and
food.
Zach. Yeah, that was awesome
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Hanging out with Pops and Z.
watching
Yeah.
Zach just mow through food, dude. That boy
Oh,
can
well, so
eat.
I know. That's I mean, like, welcome to my life, dude. Like, Zach to a T. I always enjoy when other people get to experience of just how much food that man can eat. Now, I say that knowing Cody Schwartz and
Oh,
hearing
whew.
stories of Don Rapallo. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, so it's kind of like what I would love to do. This is super tangent. And I know people probably are just going to like fast forward, like,
through
a
this
couple
part.
times past
Yeah,
this. But I think it would be really fun to put Zach, Cody, and Don all
together.
together at a table
Yeah,
at at that same restaurant, even of just like, all right, whose house? Well, Cody won't eat there, so that's actually not a good spot because that's not the type of food Cody eats. But
right.
it would be it would be interesting to be like, who's housing the most. Um,
And also, sorry
so
to the restaurant if it's all you can eat.
oh yeah,
They
well
ain't
no,
making
that
money.
they did that to themselves. They chose
That's
that
true.
business model. That's not their fault. Yeah, yeah,
So
that's
you win
yeah.
some, you lose some in business.
Absolutely. Hashtag missed opportunities. First time it's being said. Yep. Yep.
Nice,
Uh,
nice.
yeah. It's been a daggone theme for this conversation. All right. So, uh, yeah, I mean, we can start at rescue.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
yeah.
This is the
Well,
one.
hold
Yep.
on, real
Go
quick.
ahead.
Hold on.
Yep.
Let's just go ahead and kind of get ahead of Blade Speed Climb. Awesome. And like in the actual like conduction, okay, next day it starts.
Yeah.
Blade Speed Climb was awesome.
Yeah. It was great.
So that was super fun. There was a lot of us yelling about like, yeah, you missed a bell. It was a really cool way to kind of like level set really tall people versus
Yeah,
shorter people.
because they had sections that catered to the taller people. They had sections that catered to the shorter, faster people. They had sections that catered more to the people that, are really good at just pulling rope. They had sections that catered to the people that are just naturally really good at climbing trees really fast. Like it was a
Mhm.
fantastic setup and it
I
ran
got
really well.
almost 6 points there, which I'm or maybe I got a little over 6 point I can't remember that part specific,
That's a
but, like, I did okay, and
that's
I'm
a
like,
darn
"Alright,
good score. Yeah.
nice,
Yeah.
nice,
Yep.
nice." A
Especially with that
ascent event
group. Yeah.
oh, yeah, yeah. Ascent event, same thing, like, you go fast, stuff you either get the setup like, I was convinced with Val and Finko
Mm,
being there, I was like, "I'm going for 3rd."
mm.
Like, if I'm even meddling in it now because so many of these some of these darn kids, like, they're all getting so fast to this event, leaving us old whippersnappers. Yeah, and, that's the only one I ended up medaling in.
And first.
Pretty yeah, and I got 1st.
Yeah.
So that was pretty neat. So always nice to walk away with some hardware, but 59 feet, I think my time was, like, 13.2 and got all the setups and the changeovers and the stuff. So Finko he definitely had a faster time than I did. But
I thought it was 63 feet. That's what I was told.
oh man, I don't know. I don't. It didn't look like because ours at Mac was 59 feet, and I'm like that doesn't look the same.
Mm,
But
whatever.
you know,
Yeah.
who whatever. It's yeah, exactly. There's a bell in the air, and it's
Go.
just ring it as fast, get
Run.
it there as
Run
fast as
fast.
possible.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, Throw line because I wanna kind of like move through the ones that are less about, like, what people want it, because I kinda wanna, like, get into the meat of where climbing AR. So throw line was just mean to everybody, but not because of Jimmy and the team. It was just the trees were gobbling stuff
Yeah.
up. So,
And if you were lucky enough to throw on Saturday, especially in the afternoon, you had to throw in a sloppy white oak that was grabbing everything, and your lines and ropes were all wet too.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that. So, and then anyone that, maybe didn't hear, or are just learning about the North American Tree Climbing Championship for the very first time, um, we had decent, pretty decent weather at the start of Friday after gear inspection, and then on Saturday
there's
it was still pretty okay,
yeah.
and then we got rain around midday-ish, maybe a little bit before that, and it kind of stayed wet the rest of the time. Then Sunday was gorgeous. Sunday was absolutely gorgeous, is what you would expect and hope for. Not expect, but it's what you would hope for with the Masters Challenge, that it would be just sunny and gorgeous and amazing. But we'll get to that. We'll get to Masters.
Yeah.
Um, Anything else on those three events?
No, great. Yeah. Great setups. Fun trees, awesome spots. Yeah. I was because like so going through in the months previous, anytime that I would even hint at North Americans, Rick Denbo would smash me and said, "No, you're not talking about it. I'm not allowed to give you any information. There's no way that you're allowed to know. Um, don't even ask me," because he didn't want any form of favoritism to be shown. I'm certainly not the only Davy employee that was there, but I was the only Davy employee that's at the Seed campus, you know, on a relatively normal basis. I would say probably maybe once a month, but at least once every other month
Yeah.
in Kent.
Yeah.
So what with not knowing where the trees were at, much like everybody else, but when the map came out, when the map was emailed, and I saw the circles on the map, and you know where it is relative to the canopy walk, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be sick.
Yeah.
I know that
That's
where
cool.
climb tree,
Yeah.
or at least I know where it is, and I've seen those limbs before. Or that.
Right.
Also, very much looking forward to getting back in those trees at some point,
Yeah. Yeah.
for sure.
Okay. Let's jump into rescue.
All right, so um, Man, I feel like I've over this last week, I've done nothing but talk to other
Mhm,
people about these events and about the current state of where we are. Um, kind of why we all got into this whole thing and where we feel like it's going. And I just want to start it out and say that I feel like we're at an inflection point with ISA tree climbing championships or contests or whatever you want to call them. Certainly when I got into this, I haven't been into it, nearly as long as other people. But this is my 10th year competing. Um, and when you first get into it, I think it's all relatively new. I feel like we do a relatively good job at being welcoming to people, bringing them into the fold, making sure that they understand what it is they're doing and giving information and making sure they know to look at the score sheets and look at the rule books and doing all those things. I think we do a fantastic job at that. What I feel like at least the two, because they're like the other part of why we just talked about the other three events is the other three events are pretty objective, meaning there's not much that the judges are going to say or do that's going to influence your score. You either are fast up a rope or you're fast up a tree, or you can hit targets with your throw line or you can't. So there really
yeah.
isn't much by the way of judging and or subjectivity or rules interpretation is what I wanted to talk about with
Yeah, I
rules
think there's
interpretation with work climb and then this weird riddle that we're doing in aerial rescue. What were you going to say?
yeah, I think there's, like I'm trying to get to the score sheet of throw line now, but I know there's discretionary points.
Yep.
Oh, I get it.
You can get up to two
Yep.
for techniques or innovative ways of
1 no, it's 1. 1
one point.
bonus point for
Okay.
innovative or exceptional technique, 0 or 1, and then there's time points.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, a whole point
A whole
in
point.
terms of discretionary effort there from the throw line ring.
Cameron
So,
Hughes would have really been grateful to Jimmy for giving him 1 point because he missed Masters by less than a point. So
yeah. Yeah,
it
there you
matters.
go.
But
It does
anyway,
matter.
um, I feel like let's just talk about rescue. Rescue has gotten to this really weird stage where we're we're making stuff up that either doesn't follow manufacturer's recommendations, isn't plainly written out in the rules or best practices, or we are completely going against what would be a normal medical assessment and or medical care for this victim in an effort to gain points. And as a former medical professional, as a paramedic and firefighter and rescue technician, it pains me to see some of the ways that these events are being played out because it doesn't mirror anything that you would do in the real world. It's just this goofy game that we're playing, and I don't like it.
Yeah. Which is always interesting for when we talk about this because you're coming at it from the side of being a professional carer of bodies. And I am coming at it from the side of I like to climb trees, and there's this part of the event that involves caring for a dead guy. Like, uh, he's got no arms or legs. What kind of life is this? Should we even bother reviving? Right. So like for me, like I remember my first competitions, like I was atrocious at the rescue event. Like, absolutely awful. Like, I would time out all the time.
Mm.
Like, the patient assessment side of things was like, whatever I didn't remember from first aid CPR training and my time in the scouts, like, everything else was just like, I'm hearing people talking about stuff, and I'm just like, "What are we okay. I I thought we were just tree people, like, coming here and but now we gotta, like." That's why, I say it to be funny,
Yep.
but like when I am doing a patient assessment and I'm like, I'm touching the tummy and the tummy's doing tummy
Tell me
things or
things.
something to that effect. Like I'm doing it as a way to like kind of like poke fun at this of just like, I'm going through the patient assessment. And I've talked about it on this podcast before. I've talked about it on other podcasts. Like I am appreciative of the event because as a non tree person or as a non medical person, it has given me a flow chart that now just is tattooed in my brain
Sure.
of how to go through an emergency response, which is better than, I would argue, having nothing.
Yeah.
Uh, Now, when it gets into the context of competitions and, Steve Canale made that post that I was fortunate I had a long drive that I just had it playing in the background and could listen to him talk about. But like when we have them in these competitive events, um, what did he call them? He didn't call. He was trying not to
Contests.
call them competitions, contests. When we have them in these contests and these competitions, um, I mean, I guess it's still better. It's a better version because time points aren't associated with it anymore. So there used to be time points associated with the aerial rescue event,
Yeah.
and the whole unclipping of the dummy used to be worth more points than it is now. So it's like it has course corrected to a certain extent, but then when we get into spots where, like, where the question around the hard connect comes up, it's like all the training I've done with like rope access people and paramedic, preach hard connect everything, hard connect all the time, hard connect all the time. I'll be honest with you, in that in this event, in this ring, like now this is my very last event. So and we'll talk about why my head was in a really weird spot in a minute.
Mhm.
But I'm about to walk in the ring. The rain starts pouring, and
Mhm.
granted, I'm happy it didn't happen while I was in the work climb, and I'm sorry for those that were running the work climb in the
Pouring
rain.
down
That
rain. Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
So don't hear me say this to be like, "Oh, woe was me," like it was raining on me. I understand it could have been way worse, but like my head was also in a really like I mentally. I said this to Dad and Zach. I know I said it to you, and I said it to uh, James as well. It's like I was more checked out than I thought I was when I started going. I mean, thank God I have so much of this in muscle memory. Is the only reason I got the 39 whatever points that I did. But in my head, I was like, I'm not hard connecting because I'm afraid they're just like low key DQing people for hard
Yeah.
connecting on a device that like is rated for a single person load, and the zigzag that the climber's on is on a single person load,
Yeah.
and nobody's talking about anything. So I don't really know. Usually when people are getting, beat up on stuff, you kind of hear about it. Um, and so I didn't hard connect
Yeah.
because I'm like, I feel like that's the way that the game wants to get played. And then as I've thought about it later, I'm like, well, I let myself get affected. Not like in a super shameful way, I guess, but like I did let
No.
myself get affected by thinking about this is how the outcome of this game. Maybe this is what they're shooting for, and I got to try to make up points. So let me try to do something that's not going to get points taken away,
Mhm.
which is truly a lot of how I feel the energy around this was like the we climbers were trying to do things in a way that didn't have points get taken away.
Yeah.
And that
Not
was
not like
sorry.
no, you're fine. Not I'm just kinda re-emphasizing. So the tone of the weekend, it should be, you know, innovation and trying your best and being as competitive as possible, and also in the spirit of fun and camaraderie, and the joy of earning the position, because this is a invite only, of earning the right to be in this group of elite tree climbers. And what it ended up feeling like was we were all guarded to avoid having points taken away, and there wasn't as much in the way of communication either ahead of time or during or afterwards to, to learn what it is and why some of these things were being judged in the way they did. And I think that's, in many ways, that's why I wanted to and have been speaking with so many people after the fact. And I hope that we can share some of those perspectives, because I think it's important to at least
Mhm.
state that, these people are all volunteers.
Yep. Yep.
They have spent an incredible amount of time. They've also been put in positions at times where you don't get all of their backstory, and um, the reasons why they came up with the decisions that they did. Uh, so yeah, that I think that is important. But I want to speak on behalf of the rest of the climbers, in that, it was just a weird feeling. It just felt like we were, um, I don't know. To me, I didn't feel like I could be myself in that, because I wasn't sure how I was going to be judged.
Yeah. It's the quietest tree climbing competition I've ever been to.
It was certainly not
And I think the
quiet.
rain.
There was a lot of talking, but it was a lot
Well,
of
no, no. I
like
mean,
low
like
level.
there's normally like this buzz that is kind of like that's happening at these comps. And I guess there was definitely still a buzz, but it wasn't the same. And don't hear buzz like everybody's like high or drunk. That's
Yeah.
not what I'm talking about. Like the energy level is like up, because everyone is like psyched and trying this, trying that, like feeding off one another. I've talked about it in plenty of episodes and all sorts of stuff of like it's the time when you know we're all trying to win, but we're also all trying to help one another win. There's just a lot of like chatter, and that's what I mean of like
Mm,
I did not hear near like nowhere near
mhm,
that. Like it was a very different energy, and all the chatter that was happening was around like a lot of this like
what are we
what are we doing?
supposed to
Like
be
what is
doing?
right? What are like Jeff, should I hard connect or should I not hard connect? I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm not going to hard connect because I think they're going to take a bunch of points off. I was like, but in all the trainings that I do with, my people and different events and stuff, I'm like, I don't care that I'm on a rope runner.
Right.
Like, I'm going to ordinarily hard connect in a real life scenario. So again, this is where it's like, I should have just done that. Even though like my hard connect was failed at gear inspection because I had a Courant rope and a Petzl adjust instead of the Petzl rope. Um, so I already
Yeah.
built a new one that is just hitch based. It's Courant on Courant, everybody. So let's everybody like stop the presses. We've got the right cordage on the right cordage, and it'll all be fine.
Yeah. Well, at
But
least that's written down.
at least that's written down. Yeah, that's my responsibility, right? So,
No, but
um,
so I think,
yeah,
yeah, that was one of the ones that was, quite frustrating, and it kind of set the tone for the weekend. Is that, the hard connect thing? in almost every other, if not every other, at height discipline, when you are performing any sort of aerial rescue, that is in their standard work procedures, is to make some sort of hard connection between you and the victim because you don't want them to go anywhere. You want to maintain control. There is a level of redundancy just in case systems were to do something funky or wonky. You've got some backup built in, but then also there isn't any documentation that I'm aware of, and I'd be certainly would be keen to learn it if it is. But our manufacturers for our equipment just says that whether it's rated for a 1 or 2 person load, it does not say that, if your system, if you're the rescuer and you're on your own system and the victim is on their own system, uh, we don't need to, we don't need to add friction, um, because we're still maintaining each climber on their own system and they're all rated for a 1 person load. And so adding in a connection point, even if you're using components that are rated for life support, which they should be, it doesn't automatically necessitate the need for putting in extra friction. Uh,
Mm.
that was a big one. The other one, after talking with one of the scoring judges, but then also one of the folks that was just in the ring, was that there was talk, because in this scenario, again, going back to the scenario itself, the
Hold
victim's
on.
line, sorry,
Can I stop you real quick? Because I know the direction you're going. I just wanna add something to the hard connect thing.
please.
So, and I'm gonna use the ascent event to kind of tie this together. So this this competition year, I uh like have been on a goal to just try to check in as little amount of gear as I possibly can. Because I know it frustrates gear inspectors of having to
Hmm.
go through a whole bunch of stuff.
Hmm.
But also personally, it's like I just want to get everything dialed down to just as little stuff as possible.
Sure.
So in the context of like the joke that's always been made around the Ascent event, it's a buy your way to a medal event, right? Like for the longest time, and I had a Taz as well. Now, granted, it was given to me, but that doesn't change the fact that I had a Taz. Um, and like the winning setup was like Taz and ASAP, and you're rocking and rolling. But those are two pieces of equipment that the only reason you would have those as a tree person was for that event,
Right.
was for the Ascent event. Now, once you had it, then you would find other ways to use it, right?
Just to be
Um,
familiar with that.
right.
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, like I've got like tree climbing friends who are also rock climbing people who use the Taz for like rope soloing
Sure.
on rock faces and stuff. And I have other friends that are tree people that are in rope access stuff and have those types of devices for that,
That's where I
right?
got
But
my
just a
ASAP.
pure right, but just like a pure exactly. Like if I don't know the competitive world at all, just me, Jeff Inman, I'm not a paramedic, I'm not a rope access guy. The only reason I would have a Taz is from my rock climbing background with rope soloing. But I surely would not have an ASAP.
Mhm.
I surely wouldn't have a rocker. And where now to tie this into rescue with
Yeah.
around this whole conversation is around the heart of like and the soul of what we're trying to do as well is like this whole best practices and have it be educational at the same time, like to only use devices in the rescue event that are rated for a two-person load is is starting to bring that same ascent energy into the rescue world.
That's a
Whereas
great point.
I know I know, the 28 climbers I work with every day. I've done lots of training across this country, like, and worked with arborists. Like, of all shapes, sizes, different backgrounds, different trees, like, most people are using devices on on the wrong ropes, just it's not configured properly. But for like the only ones I ever feel like I see now, I mean, now that the reflex is out, like I see some reflexes out in the world and being used, but like the only devices I feel like I see out there that are rated for a two-person load are the hitch-based systems that don't have any actual rating on them. So when I think about this whole conversation around two people connected to a device that's only rated for a one-person load, and I think about the context of this being a real-life rescue, how silly of a conversation this is when if someone needs help in real life, the device that is on my harness is
Device
the
I'm gonna
device that's
use.
getting used, and whatever else is on my harness or on that person's harness or whatever the ground team can bring over is what I'm using. And that is, for me, a big part of my frustration around a lot of the conversations I've had is at the it's a game. What we're playing is a game. Like, I get it. I love sports. I love to compete.
Mhm.
There have to be rules. I've read through the whole rule book. Like, I've talked about my feelings on rules. I appreciate the rules. I know like they serve a purpose and all that stuff. Um, you said it as well. It's run by volunteers. We are not professional competitive climbers. So, in the context of competitive events, we are still an amateur event.
Mm.
So to hold things to this like weird nickel and diamond granular side of things is part of why I'm frustrated as well is it's the why behind why I compete and why I love to push myself is this love of the game while also like trying to demonstrate more of those best practices while trying to like have conversations with folks around stuff of if we're trying to make it real, if we're trying to make it real life, like then let's just be legit about that.
Mm.
Like let's like my rope runner is going to get used because at the end of the day, at the end of every climb, I rack my stuff back on my harness the same exact way because if I ever had to do a rescue, I want the muscle memory hardwired built into where every carabiner is on my harness and where those devices are on my harness. And I am not going so long as the victim, like if I'm coming to rescue you and I do my system check on you the way that I do it, like in competition, and it's fine, then this is a null and void conversation
Mm.
because like I have enough experience to be able to determine before I ever got to you that the anchor point's fine, that the rope's fine. I get to you, do a system check to make sure your system's fine, and then we connect together. And I don't come down like a maniac and load either your system or my system. And to be honest, even if I did, these devices might slip a little bit, but they're going to catch at some point. Like, I mean, maybe 10 feet off the ground isn't the best way to like demonstrate that, but it kind of, it's this whole like, that's what this whole conversation is to me of like, what are we doing? Like, are we tree climbers? Because if we're tree climbers, then we're not going to be carrying around IDs and D4, not IDs, not even two person. We're not going to be on clutches or D4s. I mean, maybe people will be on the reflex, oh, which would be cool,
Mm.
but like, that's a personal preference thing. Like most people are on hitches, loads of people are on zigzags. Um, a lot of us on the comp scene are all on some version of the runner. like
Right.
and akimbos. So
Yeah.
it's like it's very frustrating to me to this entire conversation around a hard connect, and it's also hilarious to me that I feel this passionately about something this almost
Fri
insignificant.
frivolous. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
like we're yeah.
I appreciate what you're saying, and I think you're you're not wrong at all. But I wanted to add to that in such a way, like for me, I have a bag in my current Cross Pro bag. It's a small, like it's this, excuse me, this Sterling like fanny pack bag. I think it was originally built for their 5-to-1 kit, but I
Mhm.
stripped the 5-to-1 kit out of it. But I have a kit in there that is specific for rescue. So I have a hard connect. I have my Jag pick off strap. I have um, two mechanical descenders to use that are rated for 2-person loads, because in rescue, and especially in our world, there's pretty high significance that their climbing system or their rope or whatever is going to be compromised, and I may end up having to perform a pickoff. But that's
Mhm.
also that's the very normal way of performing a rescue in every other at height discipline, is performing a pickoff.
Right.
But my point is that those things all follow either manufacturer's recommendations and or um, accepted best practice from those disciplines. And the frustration for this is that we're 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 having these judgment based on like opinion, not manufacturer's recommendations, not best practice.
Yeah.
And in many ways, I feel like we're actually doing the competitors and the industry a disservice when we make these judgment calls, because now you're saying, well, this is the way that you're supposed to do it, and then it has ripple effects down the road. I don't want people to think that you should, because like this one that drives me nuts, competitors walking into the ring and going, well, this person had a blood test. I'm not worried about bloodborne pathogens, so I'm not going to wear gloves.
Dude.
Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? What the are you doing? No, I'm
Yeah.
not going to perform a hard connect because I don't know whether you're going to judge me poorly or not.
Yeah.
That to me, if any one of us actually has to do a rescue, what's going to be going on in their brain? It shouldn't be like they shouldn't be second guessing themselves. They should be like you, in that I know exactly where everything is. I know what I'm going to do. You know, I can adapt based on the situation, and I feel very confident that I can actually be an advocate and help in this scenario. Not like, oh, I don't know what game I should be playing, but that person's life is potentially at risk. No, that's we've gone beyond the point of this whole game to begin with, and it's supposed to be learning. It's supposed to be sharing information. It's supposed to be getting better, not, hey, do you know this person that's judging well enough? Have you seen them judge in the past? Do you know what it is they're looking for? Because they're not going to tell you. And we don't have like a debrief at the end of the event to say, hey, this was the reason why these people scored relatively well, is because we were actually looking for them to do X, Y, and Z, and they did X, Y, and Z. They didn't miss this or do that or whatever.
Right. Yeah, which is why I feel crappy about not doing a hard connect in it, because it's just like
Yeah, but
I
you
was just
were,
playing the game.
it was the last event of the weekend.
I know.
Still
I just went on
was,
that rant about hard connects, and
no,
then
yeah, but I
I
get
just
it.
want to circle
It's,
back and be like,
it's,
I understand how hypocritical it sounds, because then I proceeded to not hard connect.
I didn't,
So
but I didn't do it either. And I would never do that in the real world, but the question was not answered, and it was the question about hard connecting was answered with another question that seemed very condescending. So it felt like, well, you're just telling us that you don't want us to hard connect. So I'm not, I, I'm, I'm still a competitor. I want to win. And I'm going to play by your rules because you're the judge and jury in this weekend. So
Yeah. Yeah.
whether I like it
Well,
or
that being
not,
said, I did have a pretty sick rope angle. I had a pretty sick rope angle. So,
that the judge
yeah.
also asked you about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
No,
yeah, I was
one
yeah.
other
Good.
situation that I, after talking with a scoring judge and a person that was in the ring that wasn't scoring, I think he was a timer or tech, maybe, whatever, doesn't matter. Come to find out that even though the head tech did not, it sounded like did not want us to hard connect, the judges were still allowed to give their discretionary points on whether we did hard connect. And this judge said that if you did hard connect and did not add friction, as long as you were able to maintain control of both systems and clearly keep your body weight in your system and the victim's body weight in their system, he would have no problems awarding you points or not taking points away, which was great, but also more confusing because it's not um, it's not across the board. It depends on the judge.
Mhm.
The other one was that the victim was, 10 to 15 feet in the canopy on the first scaffold limb. And because their rope was routed in such a way, and they told us in the walkthrough they didn't want us to overload the branch that the rope was routed on, and they were also not lanyarded in, many contestants chose to, myself included, chose to lower them down away from the branch and get them into free space before um, actually descending to the ground. Well, come to find out, uh, if we did that and we did not issue a audible warning for stand clear, that we would be docked points.
Stand clear descending.
Yes,
Right.
but
Yeah.
we weren't descending.
Right. No, I know. But yeah, I thought that was an important clarification for
Yeah,
when we
yeah,
talked about
yeah.
it earlier.
Because
Yeah.
it is very plainly written in the rules. Before you begin your descent to the ground, you will issue an audible warning of stand clear on descent. So, no problems with that. But if we are not descending, if we are just positioning the climber or positioning the victim, we do not need to give an audible warning. And in my training, I don't issue an audible warning in that spot, regardless of what I'm doing. I'm telling the judges, what it is that I'm doing. I'm positioning them in a better spot because I'm worried about this limb. I'm also, I want to prop them up so that on our descent, they're in a more comfortable posture. All of those things. So I don't need to give a stand clear for that. But come to find out, there were points taken off because of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough because there wasn't a lot of space to work with, especially considering everybody basically went to the victim in the same kind of way.
Yep.
Um, and didn't have a great rope angle. Now, granted, it wasn't like a really far limb walk to get out
Right.
to the victim.
Yep.
Which, if I'm being honest, part of why I went all the way up and all the way out was just like I just want to see what it feels like, and also
Got nothing
do
to
something
lose.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like I know I'm mathematically out of this, so I'm just gonna go for broke and try to do something different. Now,
Yeah.
I didn't know at the time I was the only one out of all of us
Yeah.
that went all the way up and all the way over. to then come down next to the victim. And But even then, like with the rope angle I had to then work with the victim, it's like now I think I did have a much easier time descending because I was able to go with my rope, like
Right.
go with my rope angle. So it made that whole situation a little bit cleaner. But the way
Mhm.
y'all were going, like there wasn't really a whole lot you could kinda do and not get mixed up in the ropes. And, like, again, like, going that route, I was like, "Oh, yeah, that would be probably the way you would wanna, like, slowly control both you kinda getting into that space and then kinda addressing what you could," because the way the victim was propped up on that limb was, like, kinda insecure, like, again,
Mhm.
not lanyarded in, but, like, was just kinda like it's like, well, if you move a little too much, could go into a bit of a weird swing. So
Yep.
from like a if they're fine enough to move, let's get them in suspension
Mhm.
to a space where it would be easier to mitigate that. So
Right.
then yeah, to hear that of like, okay, well, I'm trying to like do what would make sense, maybe make the most sense at a real world application to then be like, oh, well, that doesn't fall inside the context of the rules and you're not going to get scored for those points. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'd say another hashtag missed opportunity is exactly what you what you said of like not having a debrief at the end. I know that's what Steve was talking about and like in his post as well
Yeah.
around contests is having like a group, whether it's a group talk or somebody just writes something and blasts out to the same email that we get all the registration and information and stuff to where there's just like a and I know that requires somebody to do that. Like that's the other thing I think it's important to highlight right now
Mhm.
is like this all requires people to do things.
You have
Like it
more.
would require somebody to go above what is kind of expected. And I know that's a lot
Sure.
to ask. Like,
Mhm.
I know what we're talking about. Like one of the things that was said to me multiple times over the weekend is like, well, you know how you can fix this, Jeff? Like join the rules committee and like help make a change. And I'm like, yes, I'm aware of that. I am aware that like what I'm doing at the time and I guess kind of now is just talking into space, bit of complaining. Probably it's coming out more complainy than I even think it is. Um, I get that.
Mm.
Uh, I also don't want to stop competing.
Right.
Like, and I understand that. Like, while this doesn't all sit great with me, and I'm trying to be as respectful as I possibly can in the way that I'm talking about this, because like a part of me also is like I don't want to like get points taken away from me in future events because of what I'm saying. Um, because I've watched that happen before where
Mhm.
people put their foot in their mouth and then it's just like now you're a black sheep. Which it's not at all what I'm trying to do. I just want to be honest with this and hope that it stirs more conversation to so where we can help to then eventually get into the side onto the other side of it of participating with the rules committee and doing more volunteering. It's just maybe that's selfish. I don't know, but like I'm not ready to hang it up. Like
Nope.
I'm just not I'm not ready to hang it up. And I feel like to go that route requires hanging up the literal
The
smooth
competition.
saw and going and holding a clipboard. And I'm not ready for that yet. So I also am saying all this to say like, yeah, I'm just gonna I guess grin and bear it for the comps that I'll continue to do. So, but
Yeah. No, I
I can be
also I
frustrated.
yeah, we're allowed to be frustrated. I think we're allowed to air it out. I'm hopeful that we are doing it in such a way that isn't offending everyone, but also challenging where we're at. I think that's important. I think it's important to grow and to make necessary change and to also listen to people. I think it is important for competitors to be on the other side. If you've been competing and you have not yet volunteered, I think it is very important for you to volunteer to give back to the community, but then also to get more perspective. It is not easy to be a judge in these rings, and I try to compete or I try to volunteer as many times as I compete in a year. For that reason, one, if anything, it is a little bit selfish. I do want to understand the rules more and understand how the game is played more, and you can certainly do that very well if you are on that side of things. But I think it's also just it's great to just gain perspective and to know how hard it is to make these decisions so that you have a little bit more empathy with the people that are making the decisions and you may not like them. And it is true that if you want to be part of that change, you can join the organization. And I hope to do that one day, same as you, but I'm not doing it yet because I'm not done competing.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to it when we get to work climb, but I mean, that's what I told Tim with my protests of like, "Look,
Yeah.
I don't agree with this ruling and I don't like it, but I do respect the fact that you all had to make a call
Yeah.
and that you made this call."
Mhm.
Um, and it's big. I'm just gonna have to like put on my big boy pants and deal with it for the rest of this event. But I don't like it.
I don't like it.
Um, and it's also that's fine too because it's
Right.
not like
Yeah.
like you work the process the way that it's all lined out, and it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you protest something and you're just gonna win. If
Yeah.
anything, it's you're definitely not. Like it's
Definitely not.
the rap it has, but it's also like that's they they give us the ability to follow a channel,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do the thing that we maybe don't agree with,
Sure.
and then it comes out the other side. And again, it's not I firmly believe that no one's standing on any type of platform being like, "I just wanna screw these people." Like, I
Yeah.
just wanna make their trip to Ohio memorable in the worst way possible.
Uh,
Like, I don't believe anybody's operating out of that. I believe everybody's, like, doing what they believe to be the best in that moment and
mm,
responding in that situation with the best that they can.
mhm,
I like because and it's not I think it's important for us to highlight this now too of all of the people that are involved with this, like are people that we have great relationships with, a great deal of admiration and respect for in all that they do outside, and I'm not trying to kiss anybody's butt here. It's like that's
no,
real life. Like
yeah,
Jeff, who's the head tech NAR, I have a great deal of respect for that man and what he does.
mhm,
Alex Julius, I have so much respect for. Like what Alex has done for this industry is just amazing.
mhm.
Um, she just happened to be the person that delivered me some really crappy news that made me really frustrated for the whole week.
Sure,
And it could have been anybody. It could have been
right,
literally anybody who made that call. It's not
mhm,
Alex,
yep,
like her as a person.
yeah,
It's just the head judge of the work client. We'll get to that. We're
yeah,
jumping from rescue or yeah,
yeah, that's
this is
alright.
me. This is
I
me.
f
This is
yeah, I
all
was
about me.
well,
Woe is me. I want to cry and I want to be mad. Yeah.
is there anything else that we're missing from AR?
Nah,
Like, I feel like we got the big ones out.
no, other than just
Or
like
do you
know what everything looks like. I mean, that's, to be asked what my rope angle was like when I got to the ground was weird.
yeah,
Um, because I'm like, I, I'm the
I think
competitor.
it looks great.
Well, that's what I said. It looked great.
Looks
It was
awesome.
great. Looked
Yeah.
great, felt great, whole
Yeah.
time.
Right.
Um, so that would be the other thing of, if you have that question, maybe hold on to that one.
Mm.
Maybe hold on to that one till later. But the
Or yeah, if at all possible, as the head technician, that should be what you're doing is, ideally you have enough time during setup to go through multiple ways of running the tree, looking at all the angles, looking at the the anchor point, all of that stuff, so that you get as much of the guesswork out as possible. Because
yeah.
you've already witnessed it, or you've done it yourself. You've been up there in the tree and seen those things. No different than the work climbing master's tree. That's why we do all of those
Mhm.
practice runs beforehand, is to gain perspective in those rope angles, or uh, in those stations, uh, so that
Yeah.
you already know what it looks like. You already know how you're going to judge it. And
Yeah.
again, unfortunately, we don't get a chance to debrief about it with hashtag missed opportunities. We don't get a chance to talk to these people afterwards to say, hey, like, if you took this rope path, um, we looked at that favoritively, or we looked at it negatively. If you chose
Mhm.
not to add friction, we looked at it positively or negatively. If you did this in your patient assessment, we awarded more points than this. Or if you did this in your treatment for, because there was poison ivy, so a lot of people were using, um, there were people that were kicking the saw and kicking the branch. And we had one competitor that damn near kicked something out of the ring, which would have gotten them DQ'd. But were they
Yeah.
doing it because they were in a rush, or were they doing it because they didn't want to touch their hands to the thing that had poison ivy and then transfer that poison ivy to the victim?
Yeah.
But, all of those things, like, it'd be great to just debrief at the end with those of us that stayed around long enough to watch the awards, or even at Masters. Like, maybe that might incentivize more people to hang out afterwards, because they know they're going to learn about what they did in their events, and how it was how it was judged, or how it was awarded, negatively or positively.
Which is
Those
why
are.
I take you doing all this like follow up with
Mhm.
them as trying to do that like for the sake of all of us as well. So I do appreciate that because yeah, I know you have spent a healthy amount of time on the phone. Like we have talked about this like probably collectively for an hour and a half at least before ever sitting down to talk about this separate like since
Yeah.
leaving the event. Not all of what we talked about while we were there, but
Yeah.
separate of the event, at least an hour and a half talking through this. And I know you've talked with loads of people for, and that's even kind of what I guess that's what I'm getting at. Of thank you for like doing all of that legwork to get us to this level of debrief from it. Because something's better than nothing.
Mhm.
Um, but again, I also go back to like that took a lot of your time. That took a lot of your time that you could very easily have just been like, I'm not doing that. Um, and which would have also been like, you know, mostly okay. Like it would have been a bummer, but like
Meh.
if it would have been like every other comp that we've ever been to that doesn't really do a debrief. I mean, like we think about North American last year,
Mm.
where um, like the half of y'all that yarded on that climber's tail rope to get over versus the other half of us that were like, that just seems ludicrous to me. So I'm not going to do that. All competition, I was like, I'm really curious to see how this is going to get scored to see which one they like because
Mm.
we didn't actually find that's the only way we knew. was like
Scores.
the folks that placed were all the ones
Yeah,
like
that went
that
up
did
and over.
not yard on the tail rope.
Yeah.
Um,
I I
and
I
it's
I did yard on it, and I didn't score well.
oh, I know. I
But
did not, and I
I s
placed.
I
Like,
mean, I scored pretty darn I still got 38 even though they didn't like that at
yeah,
all, so it wasn't
yeah.
terrible.
So, but that's what I mean. Like, that's our like main feedback loop
Mhm.
is how many points did we acquire, which then sends us into this like, okay, well, I did this, this, and this, which means that if I would have done the opposite of that, I could have gotten this, this, and this maybe. Um, yeah,
It's still an
it's hard.
unknown, and
Hmm.
I think there is room for improvement there, but I also agree with what you're saying. It's still volunteers, it's still asking people to do more than what they're already doing, which is hard.
Hmm. They
And
do
it's
so much.
also
I mean,
and
that's
it's a level of vulnerability. If let's say you're the one that is the head judge of that event and
hmm
at the end of this all, then you have to go out and explain to the group, what you were potentially judging poorly and
hmm
what you were potentially judging well. That's opening up potential for more people to get mad and disgruntled and do all of those things. I just trying to look at it on the positive side of it. Um, if you had people that would just take the information for what it is and, not bitch, then what, what on the flip side of that, like what learning could be taking place and what other
right.
information we could be sharing, if people would just take the information and be done with it.
Yeah. No, I know it's a hard ask too because we as a group are not exactly the most level-headed when it comes to stuff. As was also displayed um in a few ways. Um but
Yeah.
we just I mean like I tie so much of what we do back to the thing we work on is trees, right? Like they're living, breathing, reacting organisms and we have to be emotionally cocked in a certain way to be able to like live in their world and respond to their world. And I feel like that's part of what makes up like so many really good tree people also tend to be a bit more emotional in a way because like we're very connected to it.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
and the ones that tend to be very rigid uh don't tend to like really stick it out for all that long. I mean,
Certainly not on the competition side.
well, yeah, definitely not on the competition side.
Yeah.
That's just is its own feat when people stick it out in general. But even in a work perspective, like you
Mhm.
have to be, I don't know. This is why it's all like, we're talking about like finding unicorns and, you know, perfect pie in the sky type ideas here.
Sure.
It's like Steve. Yeah, we keep talking about Steve. I keep bringing up Steve, but like
Mhm.
Steve, like just has this bleeding heart for the rescue event to where like he like would feel that obligation to do
Mhm.
that deep or does feel that obligation to do that debrief with people, and
Mhm.
he also has the type of personality that like doesn't care if you're mad at him. Like he kind of does, but like he's gonna say whatever he's gonna say anyway. And you can be mad at him and you cannot be mad at him, and he's gonna say it anyway. So it does. I don't know. It requires maybe more of the right personality. I don't know, but it is an opportunity that's there. Should someone want to jump on that opportunity?
How do
Um,
you vet for a unicorn?
well, take me out of it because I don't see colors well. So
Fair.
I can see the horn, but
Yeah. All right.
anyone could put a
Well,
horn on. So
I think that's good
yeah,
for AR. I do want to
yeah,
at least at the end of this, let's go back to just like what are potential things that we
Yeah.
see that we can do to improve it. But let's
Well,
yeah.
before we move on, I would like to just
Mm,
say, like, Marco did a heck of a job as the head judge. Um, they were troopers for sticking it out, with every all of that, like, um, the level of, just stuff that was going on and the emotions that people were having. Like, I have just respect for everyone handling themselves the way that they did.
indeed.
Still smiling, still, in the rain and the shine. Everybody still was, they stayed as a whole consistent,
Professional. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
consistent and professional.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that is truly what we need of, like, once something's happening, you know, let's stay consistent with
Mhm.
that, which is good. But I
Very
also
true.
don't want this to come across as like this was all for nothing and it was just nothing but problems. Like, they it was a different type of rescue scenario that I found to be interesting. And um, yeah, thankful for that opportunity to grow in that way. So
Yeah. No, great. I
yeah,
think that the other part of that is to me, I'm not speaking solely about this event, this North
correct,
Americans.
correct.
Like
Yeah,
this is a much more ongoing theme
yeah.
that we seem to be having with this particular event in tree climbing competitions. So
That's a good clarifier. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Okay. Well, work climb.
more to climb. Awesome tree.
Mm. It was such a cool setup, man.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things that was just so neat about that whole setup was being able, like, gosh, how many, like, I feel like I watched 6 runs happen from the top of the tree.
Hmm.
So, like, from that canopy walk, you were probably, what, 12, 15 feet away from the first
That
bell,
yeah.
from that
If
handsaw
that
bell.
yeah.
So you got to really, like, it was just a very, like, intimate
Yeah.
experience with that work climb tree, which is cool because it's like all the ideas you had on the ground, you could really pressure test
Hmm.
on the canopy walk of, like, okay, I think I can push off from that nub to get my left foot to stop there to then do, like, if I launch from the landing in this way, it looks like the rope angle is kind of carrying. Like, you just had time to really take it all in. Um, Which was cool. Yeah, like, it was, like, just everything about the setup, where the stations were, the fact that, like, it wasn't a cow path necessarily.
Right.
Like, I mean, the first 2 stations kinda were.
Yeah.
Now some people elected to go on one side to get to the bucket. Some of us went to the other side.
Hmm.
Who knows how that was actually scored discretionary points wise. The way I always look at that is, like, if I were to just fall off the limb right now, would I fall into other limbs and be protected or not? So even when I'm judging, that's kind of what I'm looking for, but I don't know.
Sure.
But then when you got to limb walk and pole saw, because those were the last 2
Hmm.
aerial stations, um, it was, you go either way.
Hmm.
Like, coming off a limb toss, you could go whichever way. Did you go, which way did you go? Did you go limb walk then pole?
So my plan was to go limb walk, then pole.
Uh-huh.
I came off of the limb toss station and took one step like on that because I was looking at the limb walk station. So I was lining
Yep.
my swing up and I took one step off and it just pitched me off the backside of the limb.
Ah,
So thank God
ah,
they were both on the same elevation. And so I just like, and I also, I think I remember hearing in the video like, ah, and then like look down and then look to my left, and there was a limb as I'm like descending off to the right, kind of
Mhm.
going into no man's land. I just descended back down to the left, and then there was a branch, and I just kicked off and went right. Like it kicked me right to that upright for the
Oh,
pulsar
sick.
station. But yeah, so it ended up working out just fine. But my original plan was to go limb walk
Okay.
pulsar, because then exiting pulsar puts you in a much better spot for the landing station.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I went, Limwalk, Coleslaw, Land,
Yeah.
and that's what's interesting of, like, having a bunch of discussion with folks of just, like, that's what, like, immediately when we walked up on that and I saw where the bells were, I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do." We go
Hmm.
boom, 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 get out.
Hmm.
And, and other people were like, "Oh, no, that seems crazy. Why would you go that way? Like, why aren't you ending on Limwalk?" I'm like, "Well, we don't have to end on Limwalk.
No.
We can go wherever we want. You could
Yeah.
do it in reverse if you want. Like, you're not gonna get time
Don't
points, great,
recommend it,
but
but yeah.
yeah, but neither did I.
Yeah.
So, you know, um, but yeah, so I mean, those are the types of work climbs that I love too, of where you can, you can kind of do your own thing. What Fletcher was talking about doing, I think, like with the tree, well, I don't know if the tree being wet had something to do with this or it was just like the whole vibe. But what he said he wanted to do was gonna be very aggressive and cool. Uh, like how he wanted to jump from limb toss down
Oh,
to the pole.
yeah.
And he's like, "Man, you think that would work?" And I was like, "Dude, again, the way I look at work climb is like whatever you see, you should do.
Yeah.
Like, don't do what I would do because I'm gonna do it because that's what I want to do because that's what looks good to me and feel
Mhm.
is gonna feel good to me.
Yeah.
Like if you got a different we all have slightly different climbing styles, so just do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Uh, because
Flex
that's how I've always looked at tree climbing competitions. It's just
right.
like, yeah, we've got the score sheets and we've got the rules, but like part of what is awesome is like it's not just the gear that separates us. Like I might be really obsessed with bungee on my harness. I think I am definitely obsessed with bungee on my harness. But
Con concur.
but the uh but the equipment isn't really what separates us in that way or differentiates us. It's like our own climbing style and the way we go about it. Like watching Brian Brock
Mm.
move through a tree versus, James Earhart. Like they're beautiful. Both are absolutely gorgeous.
Mm.
Absolutely gorgeous. But make no mistake, they look very different.
Mhm.
They're going to the same places in the tree, but the manner in which they get there just looks way different. Anyway, that's yeah. But yeah, work climb. Um Definitely had some, uh, controversy maybe is maybe that's not the right word, but there's definitely there are a lot of protests that came from that event. It's, the credit of the team, they did highlight at the beginning of, like, stressing the audibles, like, making sure that the sequence was down, you know, yeah, the comment was made of, like, it's not the volunteer's job to teach the competitors the rule book. Um, they did highlight that just because the handsaw has a lanyard on it does not mean that it's loose that it's not loose equipment. So the sequence has to be followed of stand clear or
Oh,
lanyard in
lanyard
and then
in. Right.
say stand clear before you draw your
Yep.
handsaw regardless of whether or not it's tethered.
Right.
Um, and then ring the bell, and then call your audibles before you throw your sticks.
Yeah.
And then what I ran into was, I rang. I called stand clear, climber descending, and I did not physically touch the landing bell, is what they're saying. I grabbed only the string
Mhm.
and shook it and rang the bell in that manner, and then exited the tree. Feet double bullseye. It's beautiful. It was a
It
beautiful exit.
it was it was a
Beautiful,
fantastic run.
beautiful landing. Unclip like the whole thing I've been practicing of like unclipping as I'm
Right.
breaking. Like it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
oh, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But because I didn't physically touch the bell, they ruled that I did not ring the bell
Mhm.
and I did not get the landing station,
Complete
nor
the
did I complete
stations. The
all, I did not
stations.
ring all bells,
Right.
did not complete all stations. So I also did not get time points,
Yeah.
which,
Would have been
um,
significant.
yeah, I mean, looking at the time breakdown, I was the quickest by a bit. Um, Now part of that is other competitors were running it when it was wet. But that,
Yep.
you know, be be that as it may,
Yeah.
um,
And
that
you
was
were
what
one
I
of the first groups to go too, so then
yeah,
by that time, people were
yep,
purposefully running a little bit slower in the tree
yep,
to make sure that they're not getting points taken away, all those things.
yeah. So yeah, our group was second group of the whole comp. So I don't know, what was I? Probably 12th person maybe to run the work
Mhm.
climb. Um, so, and I mean that's how it goes when you're the first groups of competitors in each of all these rings. Like you're
Right.
kind of the guinea pig to see like how everything actually runs. Like
Mhm.
I volunteered and run enough competitions to understand that to where you think it's going to go a certain way, and then you
Oh.
actually start running stopwatches and running score sheets, and then it's like, oh crap, this is happening. This is live. This is how this is going to play out. Um, so, but like I said a little bit ago, I fundamentally disagree with the call that was made,
Yep.
how it was explained to me, and
Mm.
like I have again a tremendous amount of respect for Tim Bushnell because he's the one that talked to me about it. He said he volunteered to be the guy to talk to me about it, and so much love Tim
Mhm.
for breaking my heart. Um, but he said the ruling that they made was they view that as if it was a handsaw bell, that if I would have rang the string holding the handsaw or holding the bell, that they would not have counted that as well.
Mhm.
And my rebuttal was it's not a handsaw. It is a completely different station. It's a unique station. That the point of that station is to alert the ground personnel that there's a 165-pound man about to exit the tree in hopefully a very graceful way.
Yeah.
Um, but make no mistake, like I'm coming.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
so what it says in the rule book is, yeah, sound the horn or ring the bell
Yep.
with hand
Yep.
and something to that effect. It's 11
Yeah.
o'clock now, so my
Yeah.
brain's a little foggy.
Yeah. I got it pulled up, but
But my it was that was the call that they made.
Mhm.
In which case then caused more of a more of a public outcry than I expected. Maybe group response than I really expected. But anyway, I know there were protests running left, right, and center. It seemed like coming out of that ring for people with because originally I was also going to be that I didn't get my audible sequence correct, and then
Yeah.
Alex came and told me, she's like, actually we made a correction. You did get that right. I was like, good, because I was on my way to protest that. So thank you, Alex. Um, and because it's like those, if you're training a bunch and
Mhm.
you're really quick with it, it's it is. I mean, I think there's some lessons to be learned here
Yeah.
on both sides of the tape, right? Um,
1,000%.
Now it is like there are 30 like time points associated with this event. So
Mhm.
it is a speed event that has this other it's like it's a unique speed event, but it is a
Mhm.
speed event.
Mhm.
Like we are very much incentivized to go as fast as we possibly can.
Yep.
And that's like how I personally train is like I'll spend, how many hours in my garage just like lanyarding, unlanyarding, running through audibles, like just drawing,
Yep.
ringing bells, just in my garage and stuff like that. Um, so I think there's a lesson in terms of as a competitor to just make things like my big takeaway was one, don't ever do that crap again, Jeff Inman. But also like don't leave room as in the competition as a whole. I would say my big takeaway to apply is don't leave any room for anyone to argue against me doing or not doing something. Um, like with the lanyard thing of
Yeah.
like it's could be a little maybe slower in that regard, but for sure will be very locked in to this. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty locked into it, but I think as a general consensus to everyone, like it is also a good practice to make sure you're in a stable position before you draw, whether your handsaw is tethered or not, whether your
Sure.
chainsaw is tethered to you or not.
Yep.
I think it is good work practice to establish a stable work position
Yep.
before you draw a sharp thing out or pull a loose thing out.
Yep.
Um, so in that regard, like the why of that rule set, I very much agree with. Like that's the way that I work of like I really try not to have that anything sharp get pulled off of my harness. Man, I mean like I keep my handsaw tethered to me at work as well. Cuz practice how you play. And but that's the cadence that I try to have of like I'm annoying with saying stand clear. Like I know I piss off my the people I work with how much I say stand clear. Jamie Chamberelli, who's our now national safety director, was in town this week. He was on a few job sites with me. And he
You have to
eventually
say
was
it
just
all
like,
the
"Jeff."
time?
Yeah, he's just like, "Jeff, you own the job site. Like, just stop. Just stop saying stand clear. Like, no one's underneath. Everyone's way far away. You don't have to say it all the time." I'm like, "Practice how you play, Jamie. Stand clear, cutting." So that was a little bit of like me being mean back then.
No.
But
Practice how you
um
play, National Safety Director, James J.
right, right. Um
See,
but
I do different. I do. Like, oftentimes we'll have people picking up brush or managing rope or doing whatever underneath, and so I'll get to a spot where I'm ready to make a cut, but I'm in the middle of lanyarding and or, trying to figure out my work position, and I'll give the audible stand clear, just to give people ample time to make a cut. And so I think the
mhm,
argument can be made like, does it, eh, do we need to be that specific in that it needs to be in that order? Or can it just be that the two actions, whether they be lanyarding in or issuing an audible warning, as long as those are getting done prior to you picking up the stick or taking the pull saw off or taking your handsaw out, as long
right.
as those are done prior to, does it matter? And I know in this context or in the judgment that was made, it is clearly stated in the rule book, the current rule book, that you are going to lanyard in, then give an audible warning, then perform the action. And it's in those steps.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I made the comparison earlier on our phone call with Brick.
Hmm.
Um, of like if I'm playing basketball and I step on the 3-point line and I pop the three, it's actually a two. So let me back that up because not everyone who listens to tree climbing competitions maybe understands that analogy. Uh, in basketball, if you stand behind this line, you can get a 3 points if you make it. But if your foot so much as touches that line and you make it in relatively the same spot, it becomes 2 points. So in the same, I guess, vein of that conversation of like with the landing bell, like I effectively stepped on the line,
Hmm.
like my foot wasn't behind the line. Now the difference here is I get no points instead of just 1 point less like in basketball. Which, and you asked me this question when we were talking about it earlier this week of like if someone rang the string of the handsaw bell with the handsaw, would I count it? And my response was like the bell rang. Like it doesn't say what part of the bell has to ring. It just says the bell. You ring the bell.
Hmm.
Like, which to me is the bell makes noise in an intentional manner.
Mm.
Now this is Jeff, the competitor, but also Jeff when Jeff volunteers and does, you know, volunteer stuff at comps. That's how I have always interpreted it is are you intentionally making the bell ring?
Right.
Because to me the bell is the bell itself and it's the ribbon and it's the string. It's everything that's a part of the bell. So if you are making it not the wind, not you hitting the branch that is the bell's connected to. It's like you are hitting the bell component
Yeah.
and intentionally making the bell make noise. Um,
And to,
and especially
yeah, go ahead.
good, good.
No, so in talking with Alex, that was one of the things that she was concerned with is that does this establish precedence so that, and just what you were talking about, um, because it's happened in events past where you don't have great line of sight. It's hard to tell whether or not that person hit the bell, hit the string, or were actually, like a foot and a half away from it but hit it went to go reach and then hit the limb, and the
Mhm,
limb causes the bell to audibly sound. The other point that she brought up is can I, in the ascent event, can I go up and potentially cause the tree to to shake if I get close enough? Depending on setup, can I cause the tree to shake and the bell audibly go off, and you've got timers that are staring at their timer doing something and they hear it and then they hit their time and then now you've
mhm,
got other issues. And so that was the justification for the call is that it's in the rule book. And it says in the landing station, uh, 3.7.1, to complete the task at this station, the competitor shall, in order, first call an audible warning, i.e., stand clear prior to ringing the bell or horn. Second, sound the bell or horn with their hand. And then third, land and remain standing upright.
mhm.
And that was that was the justification for the call. Again, I think it's important to state um, neither one of us agree with that. I think I agree with the way that you rank or you completed the station. It was a very deliberate move with intention. In fact, I would argue it's probably harder, Jeff, to pick up the string and ring the bell than it would have been to just slap the damn bell. But
That's
and
what Ross said to me on Monday. He's like,
nice.
"Dude, just touch the bell, man." Like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
And I
Shut
love
up, Ross.
yeah, shut up. Just shut up. I love the fact that Fletcher, like, picked it up with both hands and, like,
Yeah.
jiggled it like this. It was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
But, you know, the thing that I have to go back to is while I do not agree with it, I appreciate the thought that went into it, the care, and also, the precedent that was set. She said, like, you know, "We're gonna call it this way," and now everybody that does it this way gets called that way.
Yeah. Which I mean, yeah, I know that had to have been very difficult on Alex that weekend of just holding that line and knowing, people aren't going to be happy about it. So I do. I mean, it's just respect her character and commend her for for that, even though I just, you know,
Don't agree,
don't
and that's okay.
like it. But
Nope.
it's also here it is Saturday evening, North Americans come and gone. So that's where it's like all this emotion is just kind of in terms of this is in a lot of ways not all for naught, but like it's wasted kind of like in the moment,
Hmm.
like that emotion was, and it was never at Alex. It was just at like this
The
this situation
realization yeah,
of like I'm not going to Masters now.
right. The
Like I mean like
realization
in
that
like
I've yeah,
first event of like I'm minimum 40 points back now. Um like I I got to go for broke to try to even think about
sniff
trying
at
to
it, yeah.
squeak into the last spot at Masters, but even then like with the level that's here, that's just not probable. And then throw line the my I had the other 9 and it popped off a sucker and I lost it and I was like, well, this ain't it. This ain't this ain't my weekend.
One
Uh
other thing, because I think it's great, and I think we should take note and do more of this, is that, had each climber not had the opportunity to at least go over their mandatory scores,
mhm.
right after the work climb, there would have been a whole lot more problems because you would have had people not find out about why it why it was that they did not score. You know, their where they thought they scored and where they actually scored were not even close, or they were off. And had Alex not gone through that right after the rip, then it would have created even more chaos. And so I would
Oh yeah.
love that for that to be a normal thing, especially in in the two major discretionary events, is to for the head judge to just go through the mandatory points,
Yeah, the double
f-
boxes.
the
Yeah.
double boxes for each one of them. It gives both the judge and the climber to at least agree to disagree, and then you can start the
Mhm.
protest process much earlier. I can only
Yeah.
imagine what your weekend would have been like if you had no idea that
Oh
that
yeah.
was happening.
Well, James made a point of like this is part of why there's probably so many protests happening is because we're seeing it. But
Sure,
and at the time it didn't really click, but now that put it like having this conversation now had I mean it's hard to say because the rest of my event was basically done differently it because of how that event
sure,
went.
right.
But just assuming everything was what it was, and I thought work climb, like that I smashed work
Killed.
climb, and
Yeah,
then I
because you
get to
did.
the end and see that, I gotta at least entertain the idea that I'd be more angry than I was. To
I
the
think so.
point, like, yeah, like I think that would have changed my outlook on this more than it has been changed.
Mhm.
So I do, yeah. It isn't. I think it's if we. I agree with what you're saying. We know that ahead of time, or we know it more real time. If we have a disagreement, we can go ahead, go ahead through the process of protesting if we want to, but also going ahead and just starting to make peace with the fact of like this is just
Not my
is
weekend.
what it is. Because like I mean, like we got to the end of Saturday, and I was still pissed.
Fuming, yeah.
Um, um,
Everyone was asking me,
so
where's Jeff?" Like, "Just it's okay. He'll be
yeah,
fine. He don't
yeah,
wanna see you right now."
yeah. Who was asking that?
A bunch of people. Just
Oh, okay.
where's he at? Towards the end of the
Yeah.
day.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. I mean, it's
We
like
were
I
actually, we were all banking on the fact that you were gonna, like, angry climb the head to head. That's what I
if
had
that
my
tells you
money on.
anything about how angry I was.
Yeah. That didn't even happen.
I chose to not climb.
Yeah.
That's how
That
angry I was.
yeah, that
So,
does not happen.
yeah. I went and ran like, I went back to the hotel and immediately changed into running clothes and then
Yeah.
went and found, like, a
That
plot of woods
that
to just
park.
disappear into. Yeah.
Yeah. That was nothing but mud.
Oh, yeah. It was
Uh,
I mean, yeah. Um, alright, back on work climb.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think the other point that I made to you earlier this week was in the same concept of like the feeling like we're climbing and not get points taken away aspect of the discretion and talking and the slack,
mhm.
getting called for slack, excessive slack. Like I think that's a helpful thing to same page on because like when there's something for an unsafe act like and when a warning is issued for an unsafe act, I've always taken that as you that climber is about to do something that is going to get themselves or someone else hurt unless I stop and address this right now.
Mhm.
Whereas having like what not even a factor 2 fall or whatever, like,
Yeah.
where we're getting hit with unsafe act calls
Mhm.
on a upward sloping limb that, that in conjunction with like, I think, like, that any of these things kinda by themselves wouldn't be as hard to stomach, but all of them together is just this the point that I made to you earlier this week
Yeah.
is, like, don't the discretionary points do this already for us? Like like it's in a way it's kind of frustrating to have the discretionary points and the subjectivity in work climb. But at the same point, it's like I love it because it's if someone does something really cool, then they get more points. And if they do something really dumb, they get no points. And that penalty should be I'm tripping I'm about
Right.
to trip in the slack that's generated in my system,
Yeah.
standing on something that I shouldn't be standing on, facing this exposure. Like, like if I pitch off this limb, like this is going to be a really bad situation really quickly. And
Mhm.
like, yes, we should be trying to catch that before it gets to that point. But so, like, if everything's going to get thrown back on the competitors of like, we should know the rule book. We should know how to use our gear the right way. We should know how to do things the right way. We should also be allowed to climb trees. Like,
Right.
um, and seeing some of these, I mean, like I got called for an unsafe act with my, like I would look back at the video and my like Vertec is like at waist level, if it's even at that.
Mine
Um,
mine too.
yeah. Sean was freaking tending slack when he
Yeah.
got called for an unsafe act.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, again, the discretionary points, I feel like, capture that in a
Right.
way that people don't maybe really realize
Yeah.
that if someone's moving trying to move quickly and they're moving very sloppy,
Yeah.
like, you're not gonna get discretionary points.
Right.
Like, yeah,
Yeah. I
there's a
would
lot of
I
points
would
there.
definitely yes, very much so. And I think that same mindset um should carry over into masters as well, because I feel like
Mhm,
we've for several years now, depending on the judge, has been um like more or less making masters climbs uh even more unsafe because they're stopping a climber like mid movement to tell them to either tense slack or to watch their rope angles. I think gets hammered in masters a whole lot more than work climb. Um, but like if they're in between movements and you stop them there, that you potentially throw them off balance, or um, they're doing something else and they end up pitching off the limb and doing something. Whereas just like you were saying in work climb, it's not an unsafe act unless I'm literally about to do something where it's going to cause harm to myself or to somebody else. It should just be awarded, whether positive or negative. They're both are rewarded positively or negatively, and that's it. You shouldn't have points taken away. Um, it's what was I thinking? It, yeah, I think the other thing from a competitor standpoint, because there are so many points that are given by way of speed, it's almost impossible. But if you can, oh, that's what I was thinking. If you can navigate through the tree and make things look smooth and effortless and by the rules, then so be it. But it shouldn't. You shouldn't have unsafe act points be taken away because you're actively participating in the thing that you're getting ready to take points away to take points away from me for.
right. Yeah. Yeah,
And again,
that's where
it's
I
not.
don't really know. Yeah,
No, I think it's an interpretation part of it, and um, by the rules, we're supposed to be maintaining slack, and we're always supposed to have tension in our systems and those types of things. Um, but it's an interpretation part, and I don't agree with that interpretation, but that's okay. We're allowed to disagree. Uh, I thank you for at least being consistent. You're calling it out ahead of time. Can we change the wording of that rule to allow people to freely move through the tree and demonstrate their ability to climb a tree, like you were saying?
yeah,
I think that's where that like potential fix should come to. It shouldn't be on the judge to look at it as being black and white or gray. It should be better communicated out in the rules to say, we we want you to move freely through the tree. We want you to move quickly. We want you to demonstrate your skill. We're only going to stop you if you are going to do something that is imminently going to cause harm to yourself or to somebody else in the tree.
yeah,
Otherwise, we're just going to take points. We're going to reward you points based on what we feel like the score should look like, and there's 5 of us, and so that those should, the laws of averages should work themselves out.
yeah. Yeah, and I know people have issue with the speed point side of it, but I always land at, like, if we just keep tying this back to, like, how this whole thing started, this whole game started was, like, It was a bunch of folks that were just stoked on tree work enough to like turn it into a game.
Uh,
So if you think about doing tree work, like there is definitely an efficiency side of doing
Hell
tree
yeah.
work.
Yeah.
So like if you're not moving quickly on a in a tree and on a job site, like you're just not I'm sorry, you're just not as like certainly we need to be safe, right? Like anyone that works with me knows I have the hierarchy of how we do work. Like safety is number one, quality is number two, efficiency is number three,
Uh-huh.
right? So then if you look at the context of how the score sheet's broken down, you've got 50 points. 50 of the 80
Uh-huh.
are captured in safety and quality,
Uh-huh.
and you've got 30 that are captured in speed.
Mm.
So
Well said.
like the way at least the way that I go about doing tree work and the way that I've trained all our folks to go about doing tree work ain't that different than how the score sheet reads of like we're going about it like, as Andy, my coworker says, like, rule number one is look cool, which to him encompasses being safe and high quality and efficiency all in just like looking cool, which it's like, yeah, well, that's an easier way to say it. Confuses the hell out of people.
Yeah.
But other than like when people are doing that, when people are doing those things, they do look cool, in which case it further reinforces what I'm saying of like discretionary points,
Mhm.
captures that. Like if you can't move quickly through a tree, you should not be rewarded the same way in a competition, the same way you shouldn't be rewarded at work. Like
Right.
if you can't make money doing it, then you effectively are out of a job. Like if a business isn't making money, it goes belly up,
Uh-huh.
right? This is no different. Like
Nope.
be smooth and fast, and most of the time the smoother you are, the faster you are.
Right.
Um so folks that want to push back about the whole, time points thing, it's like, well, I don't know what to tell you other than just like train being faster. Like or don't play because it like to be honest, like after this weekend, I was like, these freestyle comps are looking pretty dope to me. Like where it's just pure speed. Just go bring all 12 bells or whatever as fast as you possibly can, and there is no subjectivity to it. And like there's a beauty in that. Like there's a true beauty in just like how fast can I move through this tree?
Balls
And
don't
it's not
lie.
for everybody.
No.
But it is pretty daggone simple.
Mm.
Um, so that's not this conversation. That's
Yeah.
but it is kind of tied to it of
Yeah.
like let's not everybody crap on the fact that like we should reward people who are really good at navigating a tree.
Right.
Like um there should be some level of that. Um Now
Yeah.
I'm not on the rules committee, so y'all do whatever you want. But please don't take away the speed points because it's a big thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I really. I mean, that limb toss station was rough. But that's about the only other thing I could say about work climb. I feel like I've said everything I need to say.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're good. Good.
Well,
Masters.
on the Masters.
Yep.
Yeah. Congrats to everybody that made it in the Masters. It was
Heck
super
yeah.
cool to see new faces in there.
Yeah.
On the women's side, had Sarah Hoodricant, uh, Anna. How do you pronounce Anna's last name? Sodenfield,
Seidenfeld.
Sodenfeld.
Mhm.
Almost. I almost had it.
Close enough.
And Anissa Wynn. So
Yeah.
Anissa's been in there
Yeah.
a few times.
Mhm.
Always enjoy watching Anissa win. Sarah, you know, I guess I don't ever really get to see her climb in Masters
Mm.
at Mac, but I do
Yeah.
get to see her
Yeah.
climb at Mac.
Yeah.
So always good when we see the home team represented. But Anna, that's the first time I've seen Anna like
Nice.
climb a Masters tree, and
Yeah.
that was cool. That was really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. She crushed.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, I mean, goodness gracious, it's a twin line show now. ART, you know, the Blackbird is, you know, it's doesn't seem to be doing all that hot, but the twin line
That's
has picked up some steam. Uh, because of the 8 competitors, 3 did not climb on a
Right.
twin line. So 5 of the 8 used twin lines.
Yep.
Yeah, Sarah did not, Anissa did not,
Brady.
Brady did not.
Yeah.
Um, so and then on the yeah, on the men's side, Brady, Paselic out of the Midwest, Jake Slade
Slade. Yep.
out of
New England
and yeah,
and
and
Val.
Val out of New England.
Yep.
So New England had a awesome showing.
Strong showing.
Joe Wurzel
Yeah.
out of Western Chapter,
Yep.
and old King James, King, old Mister Earhart, um, and yeah, I mean Brady, uh, scrappy, but loved every second of it.
Mhm.
Uh, Jake had a nice climb, and then the position or the twin line did what the twin line loves to do and not retrieve off the cam especially
Mm.
well. So he broke a retrieval ball, and then Hero climbed his way back up
Nice.
and timed out descending. Val had some throw line trouble, but man, that dude looks great throwing a throw line. Whew.
Mm. Mhm.
Like he was like, "Oh, Jeff, you might want to play around with the big shot." I was like, "Why? Why mess with that? Like, I would just get, you know, a little more accurate, but like it just looks so effortless and it just
Yeah.
beautiful." And then
Yep.
I mean, his climbing looked great as well.
Mhm.
That was the first Masters I've seen any of the 3 of those guys climb.
And
Actually,
the
Joe as well. I've never watched Joe Wurzel climb a Masters,
mm.
but Joe threw down. Joe threw down a nice climb, a very nice climb. Like, and James went last, and I was like, well, I mean, I know what James can do. I do know what James can do, but Joe, like, it was very clear Joe was winning at that point.
Nice.
Um, and then James came and just did what James does. And it was beautiful. And I was cedar hopping my way all the way around the ring. So,
That's awesome.
uh, and yeah, so always good to see the Mac
Yeah.
step up and throw down.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
But this is also this Anna's the first American
First
to bring
American.
home the title,
Right. Yeah. Super
which
cool,
that's
man.
huge.
Yeah. Yeah. She's been working her butt off, training hard. Had a good showing at Ohio a couple weeks prior, and yeah, super stoked to train with her some more and represent Ohio. Well, I won't. I'll be representing Ohio. She'll be representing North America
Yeah.
at internationals, which is, yeah, I'm super proud of her.
Yeah, you're not gonna have a teammate from what I hear. Yeah, just
No,
you.
Kyla, she made it to Masters, but did not didn't get any bells, so she did
Yeah.
not qualify.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is cool. I mean, it's her first competition, and it's awesome to get more females in there. And I'm sure the with her running around all the Russell gang, they'll be training hard, and she'll be right back at it next year, hopefully pushing Anna to get better too.
Okay. She's part of the Russell crew.
Yeah, Russell trucking
Gotcha.
experts. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Love
Yeah.
Joe. Shout out Joe Russell. Good dude.
Yeah, it's interesting to just see how the twin line has I mean, like, it's changed the game,
Mm,
and it's also you know, it make to me, it makes it when you see, like, good movement
mhm.
stand out all the more now. because you can just throw your rope wherever and you can
Yep.
pop on and off rope so easily. And I mean, like I
Yeah.
do the same thing. Like
Yeah.
I don't use the twin line, but I use the same concept.
Right.
And because the it's we have the technology to be able to do it, and it makes work so much easier and faster. So then it naturally just kind of translates into the comp world as
Uh,
well. Um, but I'd be lying if I didn't say like I I miss when we were kind of pulling crappy rope angles and and doing and just like climbing the tree more.
going up the
Like it's very pretty. Like it's all very pretty and it's super safe and it's very controlled and like and I love it for that reason because it's, talk about best work practices of having great work positioning and all that. But just the tree climber in me is just kind of like, yeah, let's see a big move or two. Like 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 James pulled out this nice big like running. Oh, you watched the video.
Yeah, Prizzle sent me the
Um
video.
yeah. When he did that, I was like, praise the
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah.
Um, like he did because Blaine and I were talking about it. And he did it, and I was like, "Oh, yes. Awesome. Awesome. There we go. There we go. There's some
Homage.
movement."
Yeah.
Uh, because it's just yeah. I mean, like that's what I personally love about tree climbing is the moving.
Yeah.
Um, so it's nice when you get to see it.
Yeah.
And
Heck
it's
yeah.
like it's not that like people weren't moving, and I'm not trying to be like hypercritical of what anyone else was really doing. It's just like it's more of just kind of like a zooming out and kind of looking at how
Mm.
the game is kind of being played of it's just evolving
Uh-huh.
in that kind of direction.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
but I do feel like there's opportunity there for competitors to really separate purely just from good old fashioned movement in a tree. Uh, big confident fast moves. Or maybe that's just one antiquated opinion, I don't know, but
If it is, I share in that opinion. I think it's when it's combined, I think is when it really
yeah,
shines, is your
yeah,
ability to not only to protect yourself when it makes sense, but you're not so overly cautious when you're climbing in the tree, um,
yeah.
that, you appreciate those movements so much more. Certainly something that I'm constantly working at, but yeah, when you watch a climber, protect themselves from unnecessary risk, but then also take calculated risk in a dynamic move to swing through a tree or to go from one station to the next and make it look effortless. Like,
Mhm.
I can't give you enough discretionary points. I might take a
Right,
discretionary point from a different station and add it into this one.
right. Yeah. Well, because that's it. I mean, like, if you think about, like I don't yeah, I mean, maybe that's just getting a little too deep in more work specific stuff, but, like, swinging is, like well, not only is it fun and it looks cool, but, man, it's an energy saver if you stick it. I mean, it really hurts if you don't,
It
but
sucks when you
it,
don't, but it's awesome when you
but,
do.
like, instead of going down and up and around, like, if
Mm,
you can just, like, jump from one spot to the other, it's like, "Wow, that was amazing in more ways than one."
yeah.
So, but, I mean, like, everybody that's the thing, it's like it's also getting fun because everybody's it's kinda leveling a bit of the playing field in a way, like, so it's kind of, the rising tide raises all boats type
Mhm.
type thing, like, because there's a lot of very similar ways of climbing. I guess you could look at that in a more pessimistic way of saying it's getting a little boring. But then my more optimistic mind is like, no, there's like room to like really like, yes, do that stuff
Mm,
because it's really helpful and it's really nice. But also look for those opportunities to make moves
mhm.
and display that move because it's a whole category. So use it. Um, I'll be honest, I was surprised with how like the scores for masters I thought were way lower than what
Yeah,
I had figured in my head.
yeah.
Um, which again, it goes to the consistency piece. Like
Mhm.
at least they were consistent across it, but I'm also like I didn't see like James's, for example, I thought was 20 points higher than it was. Um, I honestly kind of like across the board, anywhere from 10 to 20 points higher
Mm.
than what the breakdown was. Now, I'm not holding a score sheet. I'm just sitting on the outside of the ring, analyzing everything the way I think. But
Sure.
I thought that was an interesting thing when they started shouting out the time
Yeah,
or shouting out the points.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
No, it was
thank you,
good.
James, for winning. I appreciate that. I
That
do.
is helpful.
I really do. I
Now we
do.
got now we got a couple of
Mhm.
weeks and there's a chance the old dogs all make it.
Mhm.
That'd be
Yeah. Assuming rules don't get changed after this podcast gets dropped. uh, that would really that would really suck.
don't you put that evil on
Um,
me, Ricky Bobby.
yeah. But yeah, yeah. Old Brick Jersey's coming up, and he's
It's been cleared.
he's able to climb again.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That'd be sweet.
there will be.
All right. Well, I feel like we've spent enough time talking about them. But where do we go
Hmm.
from here? Like what are some things what are some things that you see that even from not being on the rules committee, what are some potential changes that you would vote for or would like to see happen?
Well, you took away my comment because I
You're
was
wel-
gonna make a snarky comment
yeah.
about the snarky comment made to me about go from here is join the rules committee. So um, no, I think where we go from here is I'm hoping a when ITCC gets here that there's been some conversation around that. I mean, honestly, like I hope like before Euros and before Asia Pacific as well. But that conversation is had around this kind of stuff.
Mm,
Like how how much are we communicating? I know for me as a competitor, it's going to make me ask more questions because that's all. I'm like, if I think about the things I can control right now,
mhm,
I can control my attitude, just like I tell
yeah,
my kids. Like the only thing you can control your attitude. You can't control how other people are, how other people act, any of that stuff. All I can do is control how how I respond and what my attitude is. Right. Like like that's why I didn't yell at Alex. Like like it's not like it's I'm not mad at Alex. I'm mad
mhm,
at the situation, right?
yeah,
So like I'm gonna choose to go be mad about it, not in front of everybody else. Like
right,
I was mad with those of y'all that I really know and trust well. And there were probably other people around that like kind of caught some of that. So I'm sorry that y'all got to see a little bit different side of me. Um, but that I mean, it's just gonna I'm gonna ask way more questions, and I already feel like I ask a decent amount. But um, I've outside of that, I'm hoping that the that the team does a debrief of how the event went. that they take all the things that they know of what happened, and I'm not even saying people that they use this podcast episode as some sort of like way of research to,
Mm,
like they actually just look at like the cold hard facts of how stuff went down and the protests that were voiced, and they're hopefully they did a debrief and review with the head judges, and they take that feedback and try to apply it into the next one, right? Because
mhm,
that's what we should all be doing as competitors. It's like,
yep,
okay, well, I bombed this.
mhm,
How do I not bomb the next one? How do I take what happened here? I feel like this has been the theme of multiple podcast episodes
mm,
of how do I make that what happened there never happen again. And that's kind of what I'm hoping from on the other side of the tape, that how can we, like, it couldn't have been a surprise to anyone that it just wasn't as fun of an event as it has been. Like
mm.
2 North Americans ago, like we had a DJ and my family and I were up there like line dancing, like during like while we're waiting for awards. I'm not saying like go do that, although we had a blast and I would do that again. Like um but like it definitely wasn't as fun as other ones have been. Now as the level, like as these the level of competition continues to rise, like I also am okay with and very much understand that like the fun is going to be different,
Mm,
um that it's not always going to be the same, that the fun's going to be different because there's more people training really hard for this now than there were 20 years ago. So naturally, the event has to evolve. Like the game has to evolve. And I hope that's also, well, I know there's discussion that's happening with that because I'm also a part of the group that's having those kinds of discussions of how to evolve the game, um, which is cool. Like
mhm.
it's cool to be a part of that. Even though I'm sorry, y'all, I missed the meeting this week because I was working. Thanks, Jamie. Um, but Yeah, that's it. I'm like, I feel like that's all I can truly hope for right now is
Cool.
that conversations are happening with the group of people that can actually try to enact change.
Mhm,
And then on our side of it, on the competitor side of it, that we just don't lose our love for it, that we don't let the different experiences we had, because each of us had an experience, some more positive than others.
right.
Uh, and I hope and pray that it doesn't, because it like almost like really ruined mine. Like
Mhm,
I almost let it ruin mine to the
mhm,
point where I was really questioning whether or not I want to do this.
right.
If I'm just
It's
being open
awful.
and honest with the
Yeah,
group, like
yeah,
I was really contemplating if I really wanted to do this at all. And not because I lost. I don't want that to get messed up either. Like I've lost a lot. I'll continue to lose. Like it's what I preach to our kids. You lose way more than you win.
mhm,
That's how playing games works.
mhm,
Um, so my hope is that other people don't, if they're flirting with that idea, that they don't let it sink in. That they just keep showing up, because that's also how we make this better. Is we keep showing up and we keep talking about stuff. We keep training hard. We keep trying hard,
yeah,
um, and push the envelope in that way. Like I ran a bunch of work climbs this week, uh,
nice.
like a lot of work climbs, because it's like I'm not gonna have that happen again. I don't
Yeah,
like I love climbing way too much,
yeah.
um, and I love competing way too much. So uh, yeah, how about you?
Alright, I got a bunch, or not a bunch, a couple, I think, that would potentially stick. Um, I think the fact that it's 2026 and we're still doing paper score sheets that are being run back by runners, I feel like there's something else out there. I know that there are other chapters, Rocky Mountain being one of them, that has real time scoring as an option. I think that would be awesome. My final scores that were posted are not the true final scores. Thankfully, it didn't matter, but I had 10 points taken off of my score. I know in talking with Jamie Prizzle, uh, it's happened at multiple events for a number of people. I mean, even 2 years ago in Ohio, um, one of the score sheets for for my work climb, one of the score sheets didn't check off that I had completed all the stations. And so that was the one that got turned in. And so I didn't get any time bonus points. I had 27 points taken away. I went from 10th place to second. Um,
Yeah.
and thank goodness they posted the scores right as they were announcing who had made it to Masters. And then in this one for North Americans, they posted I had a 6 in throw line. Granted, it still wasn't a great score, but it was 16. So I went from
Right.
8 I'm posted as 18th. I went from 18th to 12th place. And I'm sure that there are other people that are like that. So if we have the ability to have real time scoring, I think that would change some things. Um, in regards to work climb, uh, I look at it almost the same way as you would look at the aerial rescue event. In that rescue, it was emailed out to the competitors, and we went through it and walked through about what the scenario was. And so with work climb, um, if you've got communications about scoring or things that you're looking out for, or you know, you know, points that they're going to hammer people on that they're not consistent enough through the rest of the events throughout the rest of the year, and you feel like it was necessary to communicate in the walkthrough, you should also back that up with an email. So now it's written down. It's no different than at work. We always say if it doesn't get documented, it doesn't take place. And so why
Yeah.
can't the same theory be applied here? Why can't we have an email go out that says all of the things that you just went through in the walkthrough? So that way, especially in North Americans where there's almost 100 people walking around, I know that there were people, myself included, that didn't hear everything that was talked about in the walkthrough, but now it's backed up. So now it's on the competitors, and that's great. It should be. Um, in regards to rescue, kind of the same deal. Like we we need to get back to representing what truly is best practice and get away from all this guessing about what the head judge or the head tech is going to do, and just tell us what you like. Tell us the things that you're going to hammer people on, while still, I know this seems silly. um but I don't want you to tell me how to do the run, but I do want to know, if I ask this question, this technical question, I should be given an answer, not a answer the question with another question.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I would love to see moving in a different direction.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see.
And also to the competitors, um, when you're on somebody's property and they ask you to do something, please be an adult and just do that, even if you don't necessarily agree with it. Doesn't matter. You're a guest. Be a guest. Be an adult. Uh, doesn't give people the right to confront people the way that it happened. But I can't help but think, like, when you completely disregard rules or you completely disrespect somebody else, um, it's not that much of a surprise that uh, it was handled that way.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it doesn't really matter if it's public or private property. It's just, yeah, yeah, that's definitely a takeaway. Like, it's just do the right thing.
Yeah.
Just, you know, yeah, do the right thing. Yeah. Um, cool. Well, with that, we go out with a splash, huh? The
Well played.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's North American,
I'm
2026.
26.
Definitely one for the memory book. Uh, Not soon to forget.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, yeah, I feel now like walking away better
Mhm.
than I was when I started. And I mean, that's even like why I like the post I made on Instagram as well was like highlighting, yeah, I got to come hang out with you and the fam beforehand, which is always a treat. Um, Got to learn a little bit more about Lotes and his dog. Um, Got to learn about your crazy dog. Um, Goodness gracious, Arlo,
Yeah.
chill out, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
surprised I don't hear him barking now. Um,
It's because I'm the only one down here. Otherwise, he would be.
yeah,
He's petrified of me.
yeah. I'm still thinking about that sycamore.
Ah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I've looked at that picture, I think every single day since since I climbed it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a cool tree.
Yeah. I think
Oh,
I'm gonna get in it again on Monday.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing of like all these. I even it's funny, like Kels and I were talking earlier today about like family vacation stuff, um, and I was just talking about like all the rock climbing trips we used to go on, all the different adventures we used to get into before tree climbing took a grip on my life the way that it has, and certainly before the kids. And it throughout today, I've thought about that more as well of like and even like the I sent you the thing too about Hazel Finley, that rock
Yeah.
climber posting
Yeah. Yeah.
about the rock face that she had been projecting this route on,
And
like really trying to
fell
dial
off.
in the moves to try to like send the route, and the whole face fell off,
Yeah.
right? So all that work that she put in to this to the general public, like a waste of time,
Mm.
to spend all that time just trying to figure out how to move your body up a seemingly flat wall of rock. But it's how she makes her living, and it's what she's really passionate about, and just the hyper focus that comes with like you know with like projecting routes of you just go and beat your head against the wall over and over and over again until like you either figure out the sequence of how to move your body or you get strong enough or some combination of the two. Um, and it's had me thinking about like preparing for this conversation and thinking back on the weekend and everything of just like, yeah, that effectively was my wall the face of the wall falling off. Like I haven't scored that poorly in a competition in a very long time. And I'm like, okay, like that sucks, but also like I still like I'm ready to just go project another route. Like, it's like that's a bummer, you know. All that work went into something that I got all hype about and okay, it's over. The face fell off. There's more trees to climb. There's more people
thankfully.
judge me climb trees, and I'm just gonna show up and climb trees wherever I can climb trees, and hopefully it all works out for the best. But at the end of the day, it's like it's that whole like, you know, it's the journey, it's not the destination, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like as badly as I want to, be a world champion, it very likely could never happen.
Sure.
And if like my entire identity is wrapped up in that, God, how sad of an existence. How sad of an existence to just
Right.
and short-sighted to just be that.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I don't wanna chase it and, like, work my tail off to be the
No,
best I can be,
not
but
by any stretch, but look at all the potential people that you miss having an impact on
yeah,
as a as a unintended outcome. I think you're making an impact on so many people, and to me, that's equally as powerful. It may not scratch the itch of the personal needs and desires that you have, uh, but in the grand scheme of things, like you said, doesn't really mean much.
no,
So,
no, no. I mean, I said it over the weekend. I think I was like, "Well, I'm gonna die one day, like, could be tomorrow, I don't know," like, and, they're like, "Well, God bless it, that's heavy." Like, I'm like, "Well, but it's real though." I mean, like, we're
it's
trying to
true.
do everything we can, like, in this, like, finite existence we have and trying to find meaning in it, and it's for me, it's like, this has a lot of meaning, but it's not all the meaning, and
Yeah.
it's a cool it sucks when you're going through it, like, I used to tell Kelsey all the time, like, I it really sucks to be humbled, like, I really don't like being humbled,
Mhm.
but on the other side of that coin, it's just like, I love it because it's, same with you, like, it's like
Yeah.
we love the process of being chiseled away,
Yeah.
like, that whole like, at at some point, like, we'll be who we're supposed to be, and all this stuff is just, like, crap you gotta go through to to get to that, and there's a whole freaking it's why, driving to your house is
Mhm.
so much cooler than flying. For all the reasons we talked about in the podcast with Lotes of like that
Yeah.
whole experience of driving through West Virginia,
Yeah.
experiencing the pure nothingness that surrounds Tiffin, Ohio. Um, because in the drive from Tiffin to Kent
To Kent was
was gorgeous, right?
gorgeous. Yeah.
It was so gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it's like it would really suck to walk away from that experience and be so
And
consumed
just be
with that
bitter.
and
Yeah.
completely forget about everything else that happened, right? The
Right.
whatever 6 days, 5, 6 days I was up there with you
Yeah. Yeah.
of like 2 of those days sucked.
Mhm.
The other days were pretty rad.
Yeah,
Like,
they were amazing.
yeah. So, I think that's the other like takeaway, lesson learned, things we can apply
Yeah.
is no matter how you feel about like anything really, it's like it's all just an effort, like in the Christian faith, I kept calling it over the weekend of like it's just sanctification, like it's just more of
Being
this like
sanctified.
right, it's just more of this process of just like this old you that really sucks and gets in his own way and keeps trying to do it your way instead of my way. Like we just have to keep chiseling that hard-headed ornery boy down to get to more of what he wants for me. And that's where it's like it's painful when you're going through it, but like man, it could be a lot worse.
Yeah.
Could be so much worse. Get to complain about hard connects and grabbing string instead of a bell.
You
Like, what are we doing?
you
Like,
just you just said it, and we go back to it all the time on our list, and that's the thing that I keep going back to is we get to
Hmm.
we get we get to do this. We do,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
forever grateful for this.
Yeah.
It's gotten me to a lot of really cool places, and our paths have crossed because of this. So we get to.
Yeah. And we
Um,
get to go to a really cool place in St. Louis, Missouri now.
damn shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
That's a
yeah.
good one to land it on for sure.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, it's late. We
Yep.
should probably both go to bed.
Yeah, probably.
It's
Yeah.
Memorial Day weekend. It'll be fine.
I've been chomping at the bit to do this one. I hope it lands with everybody else, but always a pleasure, dude.
Yeah. Same. And if it doesn't land with everybody, it's at least out of our heads now. So,
Oh, hey,
yeah.
that's
It's
true.
out of our heads on the airways. If we get canceled, then life gets simple.
Interwebs,
So,
do your thing.
yeah. All right, dude.
All right, bro. We'll talk soon.
All right. Later.
Like